Back-to-back matches, history makers, record breakers everywhere you look. Throw in a derby and, well, a proper Mancunian welcome. And not a bad stage for it either. This is Sundays Done Properly.
Manchester. We do things differently here, where history is shaped, legends are made, and legacies built. A city united, yet divided by football. This is Manchester.
With history beckoning again off the pitch, on it, Manchester United by a huge win over West Ham. But could draws on the board prove their undoing? And it's new for Old Trafford, with Manchester City the visitors here for the first WSL derby day, and the City side left blue by back-to-back defeats. Gareth Taylor says they now need an unbeaten season. And that all washes out like this then. Your WSL table, Manchester United third at the moment, Manchester City in sixth. The Theatre of Dreams then the stage for the first Barclays WSL derby at Old Trafford. Let rivalries recommence. Before the trip north, though, we head south for a sellout as Brighton face Arsenal at Broadfield. Melissa Phillips' side have taken 4 points from the Manchester rivals, including a first win over City last time out. While for Arsenal, they come into this one with a complete comeback completed. 2-0 down to Leicester at half-time. A 6-2 win is, well, gonna live long in the memory.
Leicester loving it at the moment. 2 goals in quick succession.
It was a little bit emotional in half-time. We need to show a better version of ourselves in the second half.
This is an opportunity here for Lacasse. Arsenal have got the equaliser, and it's Alessia Russo. Ford! What a finish, and what a turnaround from Arsenal. Plays it to Paloma. Arsenal in cruise control. Chance here, but steady as. Now Arsenal are too hot to handle. This is Hurtig. But what a difference a half-time team talk can make.
Will Super Sunday spring surprises over the next 6 hours, a double header to savour here on Sky. Afternoon all, what a lunchtime to start with. 6 hours, I mentioned, we're here right through to the evening, which means we need a half-decent five-a-side team, and I'm including myself twice in this. Mark Schwarzer, Izzy Christensen and Karen Carney here. It's the right weather for five-a-side to be indoors at the moment, Izzy. Back-to-back matches. And we think after last weekend with Brighton's win over Manchester City, that particularly that Arsenal match has just got a little bit tighter.
It really has. Brighton have had an exceptional 2 weeks of results, and not many teams go to Manchester City away and win. And Brighton did just that last season. So, yeah, it'll be a really tough game for Arsenal, and it'll get us off to a good start, I'm sure. Yeah,
as we've seen though, they've gone attack Arsenal. We'll go through the teams properly in just a minute, but he's going for it.
Absolutely, and he should. I mean, he's got the ability to. He's got the players to do it, personnel. They've got no Champions League football, so they can concentrate just on the WSL. And, you know, they need to hit the ground a bit more running than they did at the beginning of the season.
And then we've got the Manchester derby. They're already practicing the light show behind us, Karen. The first time we've seen the Manchester derby here at Old Trafford in the WSL, and they've really taken on this sense of occasion.
They should, and hopefully we'll see many more of these derbies here. Big crowd, I think, here today, which is exactly what we want. But it should feel like a Manchester derby here. You know, Man City need that response back that Izzy just spoke about. 2 losses now. And United, if you're really going to go for that title, this is a big game for them today.
So, those 4 teams in action. We've already seen Chelsea in action this weekend, though. They've played 7 games. They're top of the table. Is this fairly how you thought the season would shake out?
I definitely expected Chelsea to start well. That goes without saying. The squad that they have, Emma Hayes, obviously the experience that she has. I'm surprised as many. You know, Arsenal started the season, Manchester City, United. I think are probably there or thereabouts from where I expected. But yeah, I think it just shows you how tight the WSL is now. It's become even tighter. Anybody can beat anyone.
Chelsea, Lauren James, it was all about her in that win, wasn't it, yesterday?
It was, but listen, Emma Hayes alluded to it after the game. The squad is frightening that they've got, and the consistency and performance level. And obviously, they went away to Madrid midweek. They've had a 2-day turnaround, which is extremely tough for a team then to go and perform like they did against a team in Liverpool, who've also been, they've been high performers so far this season. I think it speaks wonders, but of course, yeah, Lauren James, what a talent.
Everyone look at Karen. Did Chelsea lose it from here?
You know what? I am surprised by them because I think coming off the back of the World Cup, I thought a lot of players been away. Then obviously with the Emma Hayes news, I thought there could have been a big wobble the last couple of weeks, and it's the best football I've seen them play. Gone from strength to strength, to be honest, and I see more of a style with them this season.
Yeah.
Historically, I just see a winning style, but now I actually see different things, and I'm like, for the league, I'm like, we wanted it to be competitive, but they're just setting the bar and keep getting better and better. But so I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think they'd be this far. They usually get stronger as the season goes on as well. So, yeah.
Well, we wondered what the reaction would be, and Lauren James said it yesterday. The rest of this season is about honouring Emma Hayes.
Well, it often takes, like we've played in teams, and it often takes adversity, and we call Emma Hayes leaving as adversity for some of the Chelsea players, to unite a team. And I think that everybody's, come together, and her record speaks for itself. We all know what an incredible manager she is, and I don't know what Kaz thinks about this, but I think she's got another ceiling to reach in terms of what she is and who she is as a manager. But the challenge for the players at Chelsea now is can they keep that performance level up in the future?
I think. What do you mean by ceiling?
Well, we've seen her dominate the WSL for 10 years, beyond 12 years almost. But I think on an international level, we're talking about a different type of football. And I think that will take her to new heights. And obviously, I know you know her quite well, and I just wondered what your thoughts on that were.
I think a lot of the time we've also spoken about Emma is about projects. She's very big at building projects, and even when you think the project's done, like last season they got the highest points in the WSL, she goes and breaks it up and goes and signs 3 young players, and think, God, how are you going to compete without the young players? But I think for a new project is Team USA, and I think a lot of people would go, that is a big project. We were speaking about it, weren't we? You're thinking, on paper, you've got this young, talented group, but league-wise, we've still got to develop that league, because I think European leagues are better. I think the project that she's got there is to turn those young players into winners, which is what historically USA is all about. So I think she's got quite a big job, to be honest. Is she the right person? Yeah, because I don't think USA need a style. They need someone that's just going to go in and win. And I think that's what Emma will bring.
I think they need more. I think they need a combination, because USA have always been like that. But I think the game has evolved so much, even in 4 years. When we saw the USA in 2019, they were a cut above everyone else. In 23, they weren't. They were nowhere near it. And I think they need a bit of both. I think they need someone who's a winner, of course, but the US have had that all the time. I think it's more about developing them a bit more, because technically I think they've been left behind. Physically, everyone's joined them, and technically they're behind. And that's, I think, her biggest challenge, Emma Hayes.
Just going to order some popcorn in so I can watch them for the rest of the afternoon. Let's talk about today's fixtures then. Chelsea was yesterday, brilliant win for them. But as we look ahead to Brighton against Arsenal, Turner leads the line, 5 goals in 6, and Colombian defender Karabali comes in to shore up that defence. They'll need it against this Arsenal side. Beth Mead then starting, that's the headline news for Arsenal. Her first start for exactly a year in the WSL. And Stina Blackstenius also starts with Alessia Russo. That's only the second time that they've started a WSL match together. Right, after 4 without a win, it's now 4 wins in a row in the WSL for Jonas Eidevall. He's with Emma Saunders.
Well, Jonas, there's only one place to start. That's Beth Mead's name in that starting 11. I suppose it's big news for Arsenal, big news for the league, isn't it? Why did today feel like the right occasion?
I think she has been able to progress here continually for a quite long period of time, and she's been practicing well this week, and there was nothing stopping her from starting.
The rest of your attacking line sees Alessia Russo and Stina Blackstenius in there. I suppose fans thought it might be one or the other, but tell us how you see that working with them both out there today.
I think sometimes it is one or the other, sometimes it's both. We have played with both already this season from start against Manchester United away, for example, so this will be another good opportunity to see that relationship work.
far as the players that aren't involved, Viv Miedema, Jen Beattie, Kim Little, what can you tell us there?
That they're missing this game here from minor things. It varies between illnesses to smaller injuries, but it's nothing that's going to keep them away from longer.
Whilst you'll have been really pleased with what was a super-duper second half against Leicester City, how important is it that these players pick up where they left off and from the get-go today reach those levels?
I mean, definitely we don't want to be slow starters. We want to start first halves just as well as we are finishing second halves at the moment. We want to keep clean sheets. That's really important. The most important thing is that we win football matches, but it will certainly help to be better in the first half and to keep clean sheets.
Brighton, they've proven in the last couple of matches they can compete with the best in this league. So what kind of test are you expecting?
We expect that test. We expect a very competitive Brighton side. I think they've shown, especially since their game against Chelsea, that I think they learned a lot from that game, and they put in 2 strong performances against both United and City, and we need to be prepared for that.
Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How good seeing Beth Mead's name back on. It's weird how these things happen exactly a year since her last WSL start.
Yeah, it's huge for Arsenal. And it's great just to see her back now, to be starting again. Is huge news, not just for Arsenal, but also for England. I caught up with her midweek, actually, bumped into her, and she came up to me and actually said hello to me and said that I used to come and watch you play at Middlesbrough. She showed how old I was. But she's not a Middlesbrough fan. She's, I think, I won't say who she said she supported. But, you know, it's great to see her back, and she's a phenomenal player.
She was there booing behind the goal, as
Probably.
we all were.
Yes.
Izzy, for you and Karen, what change does it make to this Arsenal team?
It gives them that kind of direct width, I think, the outlet, and I think the way that the team will look today, you know, with Blackstenius and Russo obviously combining centrally, Russo probably being the person that's dropping deeper, Beth will be that natural width. I don't think you'll see too dissimilar to what Chloe Lacasse has brought to the team. I think a word on her is that she's quite unfortunate to miss out. I thought she was fantastic last week against Leicester, and she's the player that sparked them back into the comeback last weekend. So I think it's unfortunate for Chloe Lacasse. But yeah, look, listen, from an England perspective as well, Beth Mead back in the team, it's huge.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit tactical as well. If you see how Brighton play, they play with a back 3 at times. So I think Izzy's right, the width to stretch them, and I think Beth offers that the best. And then with 2 centre forwards that will just dip in and out and just keep doing that, I think it's a good tactical thing that they've gone 4-3-3, and I think that'll be. Yeah. I fancy Arsenal today. If they hit the ground running, got the forward players on. And to just see Beth go smile, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, too right. Right, Brighton, Arsenal is at 2 o'clock, and then we're here at Old Trafford for the Manchester derby. We talk about rivalries in Manchester, but for us, it's a case of friends reunited.
This is my favourite. This is my favourite. I know what this is going to be. What do you think it is? When I'm lying. It is! Bean, it is, isn't it? This is my favourite of all the pictures. I'm really serious. Talk about this picture, please. I'm not touching that. I can't believe Bruce sent this photo.
Our Sunday kicks off at a sellout Broadfield Stadium for the first time for a WSL match as Brighton face Arsenal. This one off and underway at 2. Then there's another first here, a WSL Manchester derby at Old Trafford. Once the home of Fergie time, but this season it's Skinner time.
That attitude they had, always find right to the very last minute.
With this team, we find a way.
Bruce, yes! Yes for Manchester United! It's finished! Oh, they've done it! Alessia Russo! Williams! Michaela! Michael Owen! Beyond added time!
Rachel Williams, a huge goal!
They've done it! Lucia Garcia for Manchester United!
Manchester, the city where anything is possible. They simply don't give up.
Yeah, it's proper TikTok. Manchester United perfecting the late goals. Mark, are you a lover of the late goal?
Not if I was
Not
the
if you're
goalkeeper.
conceding it.
No, not if I'm conceding it. No, absolutely not. No, I'm on the winning side. You know, absolutely love it.
The mentality shift to do it, though, is something Mark Skinner's talked about.
Yeah, it has to come from the top. It has to be a concerted effort from everyone, and certainly from the manager to lead that directive, that kind of narrative to continue pushing, to never be letting up, to be relentless. It's a psychological gain. The minute you kind of turn up at a game, people know, oh, Manchester United, look at their record, look how they continue going on to the death of the game.
The opposition thinking about that
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, you know you can't switch off a minute. And then you look at their bench and you look at the influence that they have from the bench, that's a problem for teams coming up against them. Massive problem.
And if City, you've also got it tattooed that it happened in the derby last time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this goal was a player, Garcia, she's been kind of bred into this United way, and this was a huge moment in her Manchester United career, getting this goal at Leigh Sports Village, and obviously a decent celebration to match it as well. But, you know, what a feeling that must have been to score the winner in a derby.
We've spoken about the mentality of it, Karen, but it's also knowing you've got someone like Rachel Williams on your bench too, who just seems to thrive in those situations.
She does. If there was someone you want to bring on, it would be Rachel Williams. You know, if you want to put the ball into the box, you know she's going to be there, she's going to be hungry. But I think for me that you mentioned the options there on the benchmark, and I couldn't agree more with you there. If you think about pace and behind, they've got it. If you've got wide players, they've got it. Number 10s, every variation that you could want to problem solve on the game. I think Mark Skinner's got that in his armoury. I think he can put that on at any point, and he has done. I think it's worked really well. I
think also what he does really well is manage the squad, because it doesn't matter who you got on the bench. If they're not on board, if they're not part of that team environment, they could be upset, disgruntled, and not necessarily be up for that last couple of minutes or however many times they come on. But they're all on board. They're all desperate to go on the pitch and make a difference.
And you know the difference between the two sides that Manchester City and Manchester United is. Manchester City's philosophy is about control of the ball. And I'm sure if you ask Gareth Taylor or any previous City manager, how would you like to score goals? It's not in the 95th plus minute. It's control throughout the game. And whereas you look at the Manchester United side and you look at, it's now become part of their DNA, is to fight till the end and to have that last-minute surge of substitutions. And you almost, from a managerial perspective, I'm sure you don't want to feel that, but then if that becomes what you're good at, why not? Why lose it? Keep it.
Oh, if you win it doing that,
absolutely,
it's the best thing, right? Like winning a penalty shootout, if you win. Right, let's get some more reaction from here, because the build-up to this has been all about Manchester rivalries. But we've gone and found a friendship. Our very own Peen Mullenstein and Millie Turner went to school together, and they had a chat this week with a little bit of help from Peen's brother Bruce.
Millie Turner, defender, prankster, now also goal-scoring machine. We're going to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane.
Okay.
Because you are one of the players that has been at this club for the longest time. And, of course, you started your career here at Manchester United in the youth teams, which is where we come on to this picture. Show us where you are first, because I don't know whether it's quite easy to pick you out.
I don't want to. This is me, guys, with a big fringe. I can't believe I even was able to see the ball. Here's Zell.
Yeah.
Do we know anyone else here? Gabby.
What stands out to this picture is you see a couple of players that are still playing for Manchester United, of course, one of them being Katie Zellum, who was at that time as well wearing the captain's armband.
Skipper.
So always been a captain.
She was the loudest there and she's the loudest now. She shut up. So yeah, you could tell was a great character and a great captain. So.
Right, let's move on to the next picture, which is an interesting one because there is someone in the background which I recognise.
Go on. Well, this is Peen's dad, everyone. René Mullenstein, the legend.
Why is he in this picture? Because I have no idea.
Because he was assistant coach at the time.
Yeah.
And then he handed out all the trophies. I can't believe Bruce sent this photo.
Do you remember this day? What was this for?
This was the awards night. I think I might have won something on this night.
Go on, what did you win?
I don't remember, but I think it was Player's Player.
So everyone liked you?
I think so, yeah.
Let's go on to the next one. This is my favourite. This is my favourite.
I know what this is going to be.
What do you think it is?
When I'm lying. It is! Bean, it is, isn't it?
This is my favourite of all the pictures.
I'm really serious,
talk about this picture, please.
Not touching that. Basically, this photographer came round to our house and he told me to sit like that, and I can't believe I said yes. But I've got my full football kit on, I've got my shin pad holders. That's an embarrassing one.
No, it's
that
not.
went up in school, Pete.
I know, I remember. There's a big display of Millie in our high school, and this was the picture that they used.
Why would they use that picture?
What was this for a local newspaper?
Yeah, Wilmslow.
So the last picture we've got to look forward to, which is sort of foreshadowing the Manchester derby. What does this picture say to you about the derby?
That was big, big, big. You can see from the girls' faces how much it means to us, and our character in this team and how we fight to the end is second to none, and I think it's unbelievable team spirit, and yeah, we'll just never, ever, ever give up.
So we're obviously at Old Trafford today doing this interview. When you look out, you're going to be playing here on Sunday. What's it like stepping out to such a historic, iconic stadium?
It's honestly a dream come true to play at a stadium like this, and to play in a Manchester derby here is going to be unbelievable.
Manchester United come into this game off the back of a 5-0 victory, which you scored a pretty amazing goal. Talk me through it, because even the celebrations, it seems like you didn't expect it to go in the back of the net.
Well, it was my dad's birthday, so I said to him before the game, Dad, I'm going to score for you today. So, yeah, I don't know what happened. I just saw a load of space, so I just ran, and then I seen that she was off the line, so I just put it in the top bins.
It was such a good finish. It was one of those things where people don't expect you to be in that position. Were your teammates going, that's me?
Yeah, honestly, in the huddle after it, we were all together, and they all just looked at me and laughed. I thought, guys, you've got no faith in me whatsoever.
Have you done that in training before?
Yeah, plenty of times.
On a final note, ambitions for yourself as a player?
I just want to keep getting better and better each week, keep doing everything that I can for the team, and yeah, I just hopefully one day will make the England squad. That's obviously a huge ambition of mine, but here at this club right now, all I can do and all I control is putting in good performances and getting good results.
I mentioned at the start when I was introducing you that you are somewhat of a prankster. So I have a bit of a task for you before the derby, if you can do it.
Come on.
To see if you can prank one of your players before the derby. Send it to us and we'll play it out.
All right.
Okay? That is your challenge.
Challenge accepted.
I like it. Okay.
Challenge accepted, but was she really up to it? Have a look. It's the slow-mo. It's like the Declan Rice when he wakes up, slow-mo you were talking about earlier. During that tape, which was lovely, by the way, lovely seeing their connection, I asked if any of you are on the honours board at your school. Izzy?
I threw a javelin quite far once, and I think that got me on the honours board at school, yeah. I'd like to think it's been broken now, though, the distance.
Do you want another? No.
Yeah, can you
have a go at that? Let's talk about Millie Turner then, because she's one of those players that's consistent for Manchester United, Karen. Look at a number of appearances ranking up there at first. All that she's done, are you surprised she's not pushing more for an England start or an England squad call-up?
I think it's tough for her in centre-backs when you've got Millie Bright, Alex Greenwood, Jess Carter. I think Serena Wiegman's obviously put Lotte Wubben-Moy ahead of her as well. Lucy Parker as well at times, so there's obviously something in it that perhaps Serena Wiegman is thinking maybe not, but in possession I think she's excellent. I think she's really good. You see Man United, they're an attacking-minded team. She's progressive in how she plays. Look, she's centre-back, positive, brave. Probably for me, though, it may be sometimes I think she might switch off at times. The concentration of sometimes when Manchester United are in attack, I think sometimes defenders, you've got to switch on and be that defensive player, even though when you have the ball, and maybe that might be her Achilles heel, but this is the type of quality she brings. This is not a centre-back that's having this moment, is it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that the confidence to then continue a run, because how often do we see centre-backs, they play the pass out to the full-back and they stay in their position, and this is, this is a once, I would say it's less frequent than once a season, this type of goal. I mean, that shows her quality, but if we're talking about her as a defender, I think her partnership with May Letizia has been exceptional. I think between the two of them, they've created a really solid foundation for the way that Manchester United want to play. I agree with what Kaz has said about England. I think that she's a player whose statistics knock on the door, but I think if Serena Wiegman was going to pick her, would she have picked her now? That's the biggest question I've got.
She also had a rare condition that she's now fully recovered from at the peak time, really, when she was being looked at for England.
Absolutely, and again, it's unfortunate if that was the time, that if she was going to perhaps break that barrier and get into the England senior squad, it could have been at that time. But nonetheless, you know, she's a wonderful, wonderful player, a massive part of this Manchester United team, and a real asset to a manager.
Just briefly, the sort of defender you'd like in front of you?
Definitely. I mean, obviously she's more of a modern-day defender, one that is very comfortable with the ball at her feet, playing out at the back. Just back to that point about Serena Wiegmann picking her, if she was going to pick her, I think the perfect opportunity would have been for the World Cup. Knowing that Millie Bright wasn't 100% fit, you've got someone who's got a lot of experience, certainly in the WSL, and I thought that that's particularly a period of time when maybe she would have picked her. But at the moment, I don't think she's in her reckoning at the moment.
OK, back to our first kick-off of the day then. On the south coast, where Brighton are in safe hands and out to prove the win over Manchester City was not a shock. A Sunday seaside trip then that has seen the Seagulls take flight. They make one change as they look to take their first points off Arsenal. Karabali comes in. Jonas Eidevall makes 3 changes, though, with Beth Mead making her first start in the WSL exactly a year to the day. And up front, Russo and Blackstenia start together in the WSL for only the second time. Well, Arsenal may have scored 6 last time out, but they'll need to get past an informed Sophie Bagley this afternoon. She's been chatting to Emma Saunders and Emma Byrne.
Thanks, Caroline. And Sophie, it's great to see you after what's been a brilliant couple of weeks for the club, which you've been right at the centre of. So let's start with last weekend. Have you just about mentally, physically recovered from what, a 35-shot clean sheet? Not many goalkeepers can say that.
Yeah, ready to go again. But yeah, I got to give credit to the defenders in those games. Yeah, they made my job as easy as possible, and it was busy, but yeah, enjoyable.
I think busy's an understatement, Emma, isn't it?
Yeah, busy, and you know, you take the credit, don't give the defenders the credit. It's not often we get all the plaudits, is it? So you going into this game, I feel it's a little bit different. I don't know how you feel, but you're going into this game and we expect a good bit from you. Mate, we expecting clean sheets, we're expecting you to perform. Is that a different mentality for you going into the game than other games?
I mean, I think we just take each game as it comes. I think we've got to be realistic. Like, what got us the result in the last game might not get us in this game. We've got to give a bit more, and I think we're all ready to do that.
Do you feel, though, with the levels that you're hitting consistently, though, you know, heads are turning, a lot of eyes are watching you.
You personally. I mean, I feel confident going into the games, and I think that's what you want from yourself. And yeah, I think the team have got confidence in me, I've got confidence in the team, and that's what we want going into the games.
Within 35 shots in that game last weekend, you'll have experienced all sorts in that goal mouth. With Arsenal, one thing we do know is they're going to cross a lot of balls, you know, aerially. You might have a lot to do today. Is that something you prepared for?
Yeah, I think we've prepared for every eventuality. We know the options they've got on the pitch and what options they've got coming off the bench, and we've prepared the best we can for all of that.
And then, Sophie, your name's been cropping up a lot about the England squad. I know that squad's going to come out next week. Is that something that you've been thinking about, or was it completely far from your mind? I mean, there's a great possibility that you'll be in the squad.
I think it's not something you can really think about on a week-to-week basis. I've got to focus on my individual performances. So today, I've got to focus on today, and whatever comes will come. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
The challenge that lies ahead today, it's a tough one, isn't it? When you look at history between Brighton and Arsenal, it's never been easy. But with the momentum that you've got from the last couple of matches, does it feel like this game's coming at a good time?
Yeah, I think we've built on each performance individually. I think it's a new team to what we've had in the past, and I think you can probably tell we've started to gel now. We've started to put in good performances, and yeah, we've got to do it again today.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. We'll let you go and do your preparations, get your head in the game. I'll take this. Thank you. See you later.
Good luck.
So modest. Is that the response you expected?
Not really. I haven't spoken to Sophie that much, and I just thought, you know, nowadays the players are confident, you know, they go into games and they've been built up, but she still has that air of she needs to do better, she needs to work harder, and that's lovely. It's really nice to hear. And she was a little bit nervous as well. Just wanted to squeeze her.
I sensed that a little bit, and you got the real defensive shot with the England question, didn't you?
Yeah, I got that in there.
Do you think that's the honest answer? Players must think about it.
Obviously,
no?
Yeah, they do, but I mean, I do believe her, because it is every game. Literally, Brighton have to go week by week, game by game. Preparation has to be intense and very much key to their to their organisation, and it's the same with the goalkeeper. So I do believe her when she says it's game by game, and that's what she's focusing on. But you can be sure when they're naming that squad next week, she's going to be paying attention.
They sound like they're relishing the challenge this afternoon. Do you think they're almost eye-rolling? It's another top 4 side here, or the fact that they do have these last couple of performances behind them, they'll think, no, let's go, let's try and do this again?
Yeah, I do. I actually think it's going to work in their favour. When the fixture list came out, I was like, oh, they have such a tough time, like 4 games in a row playing these top teams that are so difficult, especially a team like Brighton. All the stats are saying they've never got points off Arsenal, they've never got points off United, and they've changed that story up until today. Like, let's see how they do today. But in general, I just think it's been so difficult for them, but I also think it's helped them because they're on that momentum. They've been preparing, like they don't get a chance to, you know, change the tactics in attacking wise. It will be similar shapes and similar ideas from the start.
Well, it's another great challenge for them. It's one we're really looking forward to. Caroline.
I would pay good money to hear the Emma Byrne Honesty podcast. That surely has to come soon. She talks about Bagley, Mark, not being modest, that we should expect her not to be. Is she that human brick wall that Brighton socials are determined to tell us she is?
Certainly in this game against Manchester United. I mean, I know she conceded 2 goals, but she was outstanding. It could have been far worse for United. I thought her agility was fantastic. Her reflexes were brilliant. One area I would be, if I was a goalkeeping coach, be looking at and analysing a little bit more. I mean, this is against Manchester City. We saw there her position. The ball went straight to her. She made the save, very simple. But in terms of these 2 efforts, you can see that she's out of position. She's a bit ball watching. But the saves are easy, so I would just be more trying to get her across a goal a little bit and making sure she covers the angles better.
That little shout about for England, I mean, there's so join the queue at the moment, so many goalkeepers.
Yeah, and you know what, I actually think this is a reflection on the improvement and strength of the league now that we've got. We are having this conversation about a number of players, and Sophie Bagley being one of them. Yeah, is she ready to make that step into international shoes? For me, not yet. I think there's other goalkeepers who are performing at a higher level, but I think the debate is probably around at the moment because Ellie Roebuck's not playing at Manchester City. So there is a spot there. Emily Ramsey's, I believe, not playing again today.
And I guess what she learnt from Mary Earps last week as well. Last season, sorry.
Exactly. She's been Mary Earps' understudy for the last few years, and she's a phenomenal WSL goalkeeper. Is she ready for the international stage? I'd have question marks.
Big fans of Bagley, big fans of Guru Bergsvend as well.
Yeah, I do really like her actually. I think at Brighton last season they conceded 63 goals. So you're thinking, right, I know she was part of the squad, but I think her and Maria Torres-Dottir, who came in this summer, have made a really big difference. I think last week against Manchester City, you had Bunny Shaw, she bullied her. If you look at Lauren Hemp, didn't really get past her when she came on. Jill Roord, 1v1 didn't, the same for Jess Park. I think she's brilliant at getting in position. She's very deep in that heat map, as you can see. Any crosses comes in, she reads it. Any headers, she's very old-fashioned, blocks anything, protects Bagley quite well, actually. But really impressed with her. And one thing that I think they've done well this season, Brighton, is compete in the league physically. I think she's a big part of that. And her and Torres-Dottir today will be really key.
That's what you need, though, don't you? If you've got a goalkeeper that doesn't come off the line too much, doesn't feel that confident, you need your centre halves, your back line to be commanding. And obviously she is that.
Particularly when you've got the threat of Arsenal. We're seeing Stina Blackstenius start this one and Alessia Russo. We were here set to talk about Blackstenius being one of the finishers for Arsenal, coming off the bench and how well she's done. But for only the 2nd time in the WSL, they start together.
Yeah, and it's deserved, especially for Blackstenius. She's a player who's I've seen a significant improvement from last season. I think her finishing is much tidier. I think this is the Russo and Blackstenius combination combining. You can see here, if you just watch Russo in the centre of the pitch, she drops deeper. Blackstenius is the one threatening the back line, and it actually ends up, well, I'll let it flow, but this is a superb little bit of play from Cooney Cross. Blackstenius threatening, she's looking for that slip pass. She doesn't get it on that occasion, she reacts. But she is a player who, you know, she's probably one of the best off the shoulder. And I think that, again, this is Russo being deep, and this is what Russo is best at, in my opinion, linking play. She does it with a tempo and intensity about it that really pushes Arsenal onto the front foot. And then this bit of play here, this is Pelova, who's been exceptional. And then this is the tidy finishing I'm talking about, Blackstenius. It's a wonderful finish and very much deserved.
Who's the 9? Who's the 10?
I don't think Russo's a number 9. I've felt that for quite a while, actually. I think if you look at Russo in the World Cup, she played with Lauren Hemp, and similar to what Easy said, there's someone that stretches the play. Russo was the best player, I think, in the World Cup at receiving the ball in between the lines. She's a 10. I think she wants to play like she can play a hybrid, but for me, Russo, I think, could be a really, really one of the best number 10s we've seen in a long time. Not a 9, that's why I think Stina is the one that should be the 9, and I'm so glad they're playing together.
I think Russo's at her best as well when she is on the ball more often. So being that number 10, she's involved a lot more and loves getting the ball back to the defenders. She loves feeling them. She loves, slipping off the side of, rolling off their shoulder. And we saw that in an Arsenal clip there, how deep she actually comes.
Yeah.
Something I don't think she did at United too much.
It's interesting you say that because I played against Alessia Russo twice last season and then the season before here at Old Trafford for Everton. And she came deep for Manchester United as well. And I was a midfielder. So when a player comes deep, it makes you 2v1, essentially. And Russo getting on the ball and turning, she is so difficult to defend because we were speaking about it. She uses her body to turn, and any contact that's made on her, she uses that as momentum. And I think that's what adds to the intensity of the way that she plays. And she'll significantly improve as a player at Arsenal. And I think that Kaz is spot on. I think her positioning is better as a 10. But are we a little bit clouded by what we think a number 10 should be, a sort of an intricate, kind of tidy player? Russo isn't that. She's a player that plays with force, intensity, and top.
And she plays simple at times as well. So you don't have to be as a number 10. You don't have to be this absolute amazing playmaker, right? She's not prolific in terms of goal scorer. So I think the number 10 suits her really well.
Right. We will talk Manchester Derby a little bit later. That's our last match of the day. But all eyes on Brighton Arsenal next. Brighton boss Melissa Phillips says they're looking to go to the next level. Can they beat the Gunners for the very first time? We're underway at 2 then with our first match of the day, but Everton-Bristol City's at half-time. Everton scored first in that one after 5 minutes. Bristol City equalised on 45+1. Rodgers for the equaliser in that. Leicester, Spurs 3, West Ham, Villa, and then we're back for the Manchester Derby at 4:30. And that is where your WSL weekend ends then. The first WSL derby at Old Trafford, ready and raring to go. First up though, Brighton take on Arsenal, the only side they haven't taken a point off since joining the WSL. Boss Melissa Phillips is with Emma Saunders.
Well, Melissa, great to see you again after a momentous result last weekend, a real physical test that would have ended in such a mental high. So what's it been like sort of regrouping ahead of another tough test today?
Yeah, the girls have been great. I think, we didn't walk away from that result and sugarcoat it. There was areas that we had to be far better on the ball in transition moments. I think we took our goal well, we defended well, but I think the group's very realistic about where we're at and how we want to perform today.
Going into today, the one change, it looks to be a change in shape again as well. What can you tell us about your thinking there?
Yeah, I think, we've got a lot of competition within the 16 players that we've been running on match days because we've made a lot of subs. So just a minor adjustment to make sure that we can transition well and have more spaces available through midfield.
It's your fourth test against a top 4 side in a row. I'm sure when the fixture list came out, that was quite daunting, but I imagine there's some real belief around that dressing room, isn't there?
Yeah, of course. I think you're right. When the fixture list came out in the summer, we looked at it as a daunting task, but you have to be up for these games. Like, it's a sellout today here. We're looking forward to playing another top competition, and we can't hide away from it. If this is where we want to be, we have to be able to compete in these games, and we knew that coming out at the end of this block of 4 games that we'd be much stronger for it.
And does the result last weekend give you a little bit more freedom to try and do what you want to in either box this afternoon, despite the opposition, the calibre that you're facing?
Yeah, I think we know Arsenal's strengths. They're incredibly clinical. They've been potent late in games with the changes that they're able to make, so we're going to have to negate some of their wide area play, some of their attacking transition moments, and really look after the ball and manage it well ourselves today.
Right. Thanks for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's obviously a huge result beating Manchester City. But Izzy, does the way they played against City work against Arsenal?
Not necessarily, and that's what I've liked about Brighton so far this season, the adaptability. Melissa Phillips isn't shy to change the system, personnel, formation, and you've got to remember it's still quite early days for Melissa Phillips at Brighton, and I still think she's trying to figure out how to move her team forward, but doing that whilst getting results is incredibly impressive.
I also don't think you can allow Arsenal to have 35 shots.
Yeah.
Because they won't be as inconsistent as Manchester City were.
Is Bagley saving all those this time round?
No, not with the strike force that Arsenal have.
I think it would be naive if Brighton didn't sit deep. I think sit deep and prevent the spaces in behind. We saw last week when you give Arsenal so much space in behind for runners. The wide areas is of course going to be a problem, but for me it's the vertical going through. And if you leave so much space, we spoke about Bergsvard and Torres Dottier sitting deep and protecting Bagley. I think they've got to do that today, especially for the first 20 minutes. Sit deep, don't give any space in behind.
But they can't try and play out at the back like they did at Man City. Because if they keep trying to play out the back, I mean, like I said, you encourage them on you. So you've got to sit deep, you've got to win the ball, but then you've got to retain it. You can't just be looking to launch the ball along every time. You've got to try and retain the ball. So when you do, you've got to be very coordinated. You've got to make the right runs. You've got to get plays up into support and be in possession. The ball is your friend, not your enemy.
So we were talking about a sellout then at Brighton this afternoon. The Arsenal fans have travelled in numbers down to the south coast, standing room only for this one. All got their hats and their bobble scarves on. I mean, they're quite fashion, those earrings. I can get you a pair if you want, down my local market. Right, let's go. And the two standing up for every occasion. Super League winner Emma Byrne is with Seb Hutchinson.
Yes, thank you very much. Brighton picked up one of their greatest ever results last weekend, but a win over Arsenal would be just as seismic. However, achieving that may have been easier if this fixture was a few weeks earlier, but Arsenal look to have hit their goal-scoring stride, and keeping the Gunners at bay today could be the toughest of tasks. Phillips makes just one change from the win at Manchester City, but one of her first names on the team sheet is keeper Sophie Bagley. Yorin Karabali is brought into the defence to form a back five, with Tatiana Pinto making way. Vicky Lasada faces her former club, and Elizabeth Turlan is the only Brighton player to have scored more than once this season. Liegemin scored the winner last time out, but remains on the bench. 3 changes for Arsenal, though with Sabrina D'Angelo unavailable due to personal reasons. Zinsberger stays in goal. Noah Moritz is in for Steph Catley, which sees Katie McCabe back on the left. A first WSL start in a year for Beth Mead, and a rare place on the bench for Freedom Arnhem, so that Jonas Eidevall can load his front line, and Stina Blackstenius joins Alessia Russo in that front line. Jen Beattie and Kim Little still out, but Leah Cadena is available again after muscle injury. Well, we're looking for this Arsenal attack to fire as they have been in recent weeks, which means it'll be a busy afternoon for the Brighton defence.
Yes, Seb, I think they're going to be very, very busy. I think it's going to be quite similar to how they played against United and against City. They will be defensive. They will be trying to block the spaces and try to play compact. But this is where I feel Arsenal will come in. They're very, very tactical. They're very good on the ball, and they're very good at exploiting spaces. I think we're going to have a little look here at Stina Blackstenius, a player that probably deserves to start, to be quite honest. I think she's proven her point. She has excellent form, probably better form than Russo, and is playing alongside Russo today, which is going to be very interesting. But she scored 4 goals in 2 appearances already against Brighton. This is her game, so to speak. I think she's very good at stretching the game, running in behind, and it's where I feel there's going to be more spaces available for them to play in between.
Well, we'll see how they work as a pair, Russo and Blackstenius. They played together earlier this season at Manchester United. And Brighton keep out Arsenal as they did Manchester City last time out. The players will take the knee before kick-off. And they haven't kicked off just yet because we can't kick off early. It's not quite 2 o'clock. Now it is.
Everybody's raring to go, Seb.
So away we go. Brighton looking for a first home win of the campaign. But it would come against a club they've never beaten in the WSL. A lot for Brighton to get through this afternoon, you would fancy, Emma.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult season for Brighton in general. I think they've done absolutely brilliant, though, the last few games. They've got 3 points out of extremely difficult games in City and in United. And, of course, to play 4 consecutive games against the top 4 is going to be absolutely draining. But not bad either, because you just set up defensively and you continue with that structure. But they really have to be careful in the midfield area, where Russo will drop in, as we've just seen. They might get overloaded in there.
And Arsenal looking to overload already. 2 sides who score a lot of goals early in games this season. Top 2 in that regard. But you can see clearly Melissa Phillips changing her shape at the back, expecting the firepower of Arsenal. And Eidevall has loaded that front line. Mead, Ford, Blackstenius and Russo. Even having Palova in that central midfield area, a player who can play in the front line as well. Here's Turlen, main goal getter for Brighton. Mead already getting stuck in. First start, as we said before, since last year. Long time out. An injury that meant she missed the World Cup. And a step.
Well, we can already see Brighton just pressing quite high, just keeping the players up there, and that's where Arsenal will look to exploit that space in behind. The back line have to keep a high line if they're going to press like this, which does leave a little bit of space behind, and we've already seen Arsenal try to look for that space in long balls already.
Moy expected to be on the ball a lot. Things happen at the back, but ball straight out of play. Arsenal, we know they have a deep squad. They've had injury issues this season. And it's meant that Eidevall hasn't been able to select a consistent side, or his best side, he might say. For him to think about already this season.
I wonder if it's more of a headache to pick a side from these players when they're all fit, to be honest. There's
Absolutely.
so many quality players in there.
Viviana Miedema not fit enough for the bench today. She continues her full return from her long time out. Ford's touch to Russo, and Russo will look back for Ford and scatter across there in that Brighton defence. They'll always have the spare player in the centre of that defence. The back 4 against Manchester City.
Just look how deep Russo's playing in the midfield there. That's where we expected her. As the guys were saying in the studio there, in that kind of number 10 position, she will drop into that midfield, and that's where Brighton need to be careful, because you can see here you've got Vicky Losada and Zighiotti in there as the holding midfielders, but they have to be careful because they're pressing high and leaving that space for Russo.
How often will they be able to get on the ball, the 2 Brighton midfielders? Here's Lee. Jotty, though, caught on the ball, but a foul. Referee today, Tim Robinson. He's already been involved in 7 Premier League games this season. His first WSL game since 2011. Don't tell the players. Karibali. There. Good room to get forward here and play a pass into Robinson. Robinson lay off to Turland, and they can spread the play to Lee here. Arsenal stretched. Can Brighton take advantage? 4 waiting for the cross from Lee. It doesn't come in the end.
She has got to get that ball in there. It's a great opportunity for Brighton. You feel like they're not going to have as many chances as they would like, so they have to try and utilise them. But we've just seen a little snippet there of how Brighton can expose some areas against Arsenal, especially when Beth Mead is pushing high. There's definitely spaces in behind her, as the Palova is quite narrow in that midfield, and Kyra Cooney-Cross obviously too.
It was right on time, that pass from Karabali. Looking for the run of Robinson. Bubamoy in the step. So many of these players part of their nation squads at the World Cup. Given away by Lasada. Irakuni cross. The young stars of world football in midfield. And cross again. Australia looking to play the pass forward towards Blackstenius. Winston, Sada losing out once more, no foul. Maritz, Mead. Palova's arriving, and here is Palova. Make room for a shot, deflected, and Ford had a swipe at that. It's going to be a goal kick in the end.
Yeah, it's good patient play from Arsenal just on the build-up. Palova makes a really nice late run in here for support. You can see her coming from deep. Beth Mead has too much time on the ball here. I feel like Emma Kullberg needs to make more of an impact. Nothing wrong with Palova's shot there. She's trying to create a bit of space for herself.
Ford was claiming the corner. A few Arsenal players were. At first glance that she just miscued it, but she seemed adamant that she should have had a corner there. It's Palova. Moving it wide to McCabe. Think about the shot for a split second, even from that distance. Arsenal already finding the spaces.
They are, and it's that ball in transition. It's when Brighton lose the ball that Arsenal just seem to turn the screw. They're so quick getting forward. It's a great ball in to Stina Blackstenius, but Guro Bergsvan does really well to get back and cover.
Two players that dropped out before the game, Emma.
Yeah, obviously for different reasons. I think Guro Bergsvan's going to be very, very busy and certainly have her hands full with Stina Blackstenius. Her movement is excellent. Also, Bergsvan is the very key player for Brighton in defence. She wins the headers, she gets the clearances, probably top in the league at this stage in statistics.
Bergsvan forward. That run of Lee down that side, who want to get forward in that right wing-back area. Of course, we're expecting Arsenal to have most of the ball. And McCabe. Back on the side where she's happiest, I would imagine.
Absolutely. The left-hand side is where she naturally plays, and she's still good on the right, don't get me wrong, but just more dangerous on the left for Arsenal. And doesn't matter if it's left back, left wing, left-sided forward, she'll get up that line, and she just puts in some quality crosses in there.
Arsenal do have threats all over the pitch. They have such talent in their squad. And as you mentioned earlier, Emma, a lot of talent for him to choose from, and maybe still trying to settle on the way he wants his side to play. With the new additions of talent as well. If you add Russo to your front line, and then you see the likes of Beth Mead returning from injury, and Miedemar as well, look at the shape he might want to employ.
Yeah, I don't think getting forward is the problem for Arsenal. I don't think there'll ever be a problem there. It's defensively that they need to try and correct, and it's something that I feel the club itself has always been quite strong at, keeping clean sheets, etc. But they haven't kept a clean sheet yet this season, which is definitely an area they need to improve on. In fact, the last clean sheet they did keep was against Brighton in May, so Brighton obviously be hoping that won't happen today.
I was going to say, Brighton have kept a clean sheet this season. It's Manchester City, no less. Mead calling for the ball. Maritz. Ilestep. Bubamoy. Quickly to McCabe. McCabe will drive forward. Ford has to take players on. She gets the chance, and this is the chance. And Ford, away by Tosdottir, kept alive by Cooney cross. Garabali clearing that ball away. That could have gone anywhere in the end.
Yeah, Lee Meng then needs to do better there and stopping that cross getting in. Caitlin Ford is very good. She's very good in 1v1 situations, but they have to stop the balls getting into those areas. And we spoke about Melissa Phillipson changing formations today, 3-4-3, but it's actually a 5, isn't it, at the back? And as you said, Arsenal will enjoy the possession, the line share possession, and Meng then will drop in there. Emma Kullberg on the left side will drop back, making that 5.
And Izzy Christensen talking before the game about Russo dropping off and making it difficult for deeper lying midfielder, and that is Lasada at the moment. It seems to be caught between marking Pelova, marking Russo. Here come Arsenal. Fan with a clearance. The lead back there on the cover.
Yeah, at the moment it tends to be Giulia Ziggiotti for Brighton in there, just sitting deep, and Vicky Losada is tending to push a little bit higher.
It's Pelova. McCabe. Wasn't a bad ball, actually. Garabali doesn't clear it very well at all. And Arsenal's second bite of the cherry. And taken for Blackstenius. When she gets the chance for Arsenal this season, she scores.
She enjoys scoring against this team, doesn't she? Way too much time. I mean, where do you want to start with this one? Is it an okay ball in from Katie, but should have been cleared here. Needs communication there to Karabali. She's either got time to take it down. She definitely has time there. And then a complete miss kick from Stina Blackstenius, but she still has time to get her shot off. So disappointing defending from Brighton.
Arsenal's top scorer this season adds to her tally, a 6th for the campaign. 4th in the WSL. 6th in 4 appearances against Brighton.
Oh, that's great for Stina Blackstenius, because she has been second string to Alessia Russo, but she's been coming off the bench and doing really well and finishing the game really well, so it's good that she gets a goal on the score sheet from a starting perspective.
You know, when she came to Arsenal with a brilliant goal-scoring reputation. Gubben-Moy just caught on the ball, but Arsenal will emerge with it. Cooney cross to calm things down. Pelova, movement from Mead. Here's Maritz, on to Mead. Arsenal looking threatening here. Mead, brilliant ball across. Back out to Mead. And you worry for Brighton as it stands.
Yeah, they're just getting overrun a little bit in that midfield. You can see in Pelova getting a good ball, good space in there. Great ball in from me. This is what Brighton do, though. They defend those balls pretty well, but Brighton are going to have to think about getting an extra player in there and stopping the likes of Pelova and Kyra Cooney-Cross get on the ball. You can see Terland actually dropping in there. She's number 9, as in centre forward for Brighton. She is actually trying to drop in there now and cover Kyra Cooney-Cross.
Just the start for Arsenal, who know they have to keep winning to stay in touch with Chelsea. Had a big victory against Liverpool yesterday. Pelova going long. Arabali just about got to the ball. Arsenal can go direct if they need to.
Absolutely, and they should be, even if it's just to stretch the game. And we've seen 2 balls go in there that Brighton have failed to deal with. They really need, they should be dealing with those balls, and they have been dealing with them in the last 2 games, but it just takes that one moment of indecisiveness, and you can't afford Arsenal these chances, that's for sure.
There's Karabali. No clean sheet for Bagley today. Just clearing that ball forward. McCabe. Drop back for Arsenal. Will stay high up the pitch. Turlin. She'll have to drop off to be involved. much as possible. Holberg, that's a good pass. Turland couldn't quite get it under control. Vubamoy, nicely done to Russo.
Oh, it was a good passage of play from Brighton. They kept the ball really well, playing through the thirds.
Another chance for them to make something happen here. Lasada. Slot it. Holberg. Chance here for Raymer. Hasn't really been able to get in the game that much so far. Holberg. Now that's a teasing ball in. Robinson going for it. And forward back there for Arsenal helping out.
It's better from Brighton. You can see they are trying to play down this left-hand side here, and I think it's working for them.
Robinson plays it in. Lee going up for the header. It was a free header. And Arsenal clear it away. Another chance for Brighton.
Decent ball in there. Nice little clip ball in, and Robinson does really well. It's a really good cut back of a ball, and just knowing at the back post there, anticipating it.
Reminder for Brighton that Arsenal have given the opposition chances in every game they've played this season. Karabali didn't like the challenge from Mead. Lee looking for Kohlberg. Cross comes Maritz. Kohlberg wants to get on with it. Jotty calling for the ball. Karabali looking for Robinson. There's Vubamoy. He listed away and was fouled in the process.
That's going to be difficult for the likes of Robinson or Tersland if they try to float that ball in. Vubamoy and Ilestedt are very, very good in the air. I do think Arsenal are quite vulnerable with those spaces in behind, and I mean, you can see there 41 games, 39 wins, 2 draws, 0 defeats. 0. I mean, it's tough watching if you're a Brighton fan.
It's against anyone, that Arsenal record. Here's Palova.
Well, even against Brighton, I meant they played each other 10 times in the WSL, and Brighton have failed to get a point from them.
Ball lost by Palova. Bramer, Lasada, waiting for Bramer to move again. Outstepped Vubamoy, read the danger. Strong start from her as Arsenal look to go long, and it's worked out. A lot for Blackstenius to do here. She might have been hurt there in the challenge with Karabali. First glance you thought it was Karabali who'd come away the worst, but it's actually Blackstenius.
Seems to be winded or something. I don't like when a defence lets the ball bounce. I think it's really difficult for you to recover and to defend that ball afterwards. I'd like to see one of the defenders go in there and win that ball a little bit earlier. Nothing in it, was there, Seb?
It's been an eventful first 18 minutes for the Colombian centre-back, though. Karabali, Yorlin Karabali.
Yeah, just see the goal here again. Floated ball, nothing ball in, really should have been dealt with there and then complete air swipe for Blackstenius. And again, talking about that time in the box, just can't happen. You've got to go out there and defend that, and just, it's a good finish actually from her, considering it was just
the second.
Yeah, the second time, second chance.
Seems to be okay now, though. Blackstenius back to her feet. Maritz, Mead, Russo. Back to Mead. Those two will be linking up soon with England. Mead to McCabe. Brighton have these bodies behind the ball. Arsenal looking to stretch the play. Ilestedt out to Maritz. And into Palova. It's asking a lot for Palova to get that under control.
Yeah, it was pinged at her, wasn't it? It's going to be difficult, isn't it, for Brighton? They're trying to defend deep, trying to soak up the pressure, but also they're trying to get pressure on the ball a little bit further up, like when Katie McCabe gets on it, or Kyra Cooney-Cross. It is just leaving a few gaps in there, and it's going to be a long day for Pauline, Bremer and Robinson on the other side, trying to get back and help her team.
He hasn't really been involved too much, the experienced German player, but lost the ball there. Pelova playing it back inside, and Stenius having another go. Here's Ford. McCabe, room to get a cross in. Too much on it in the end. But for Melissa Phillips, it's been an awkward 20 minutes. Space that Arsenal picked up, but there have been some moments where Brighton have been able to get into that final third.
Yeah, they have, and you know, they're trying to play when they get the ball or when they win the ball back. They're trying to keep it. It is difficult. Arsenal are pressing them. But what you don't want to see happen from a Brighton point of view is the full-backs getting forward, because if Noelle Moritz and Katie McCabe start coming forward, it makes it very, very difficult. It becomes 2v1 situations in wide areas. So they have to try and get pressure a little bit higher up from the wide players, from Robinson, from Bremer, making sure that the full-backs of Arsenal don't get through.
Vubamoy, that might work out. The offside flag has gone up. You can see already the numerous ways that Arsenal can hurt this Brighton defence, which probably makes it even more galling that it was a mistake from a Brighton player that led to Arsenal scoring.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they don't need it, do they? They don't need it to be handed it to them. They can certainly work it out themselves, but it's all about trying to close down the spaces and pick up players, pick up Alessia Russa in that position, which is completely free at the moment. They've decided now Carabali will go in there, which is a good decision, but it does leave them 1v1 at the back. And luckily for them, they've got Guro Bergsvand, who has got the best record in 1v1 situations in the WSL.
But there's so much danger in that Arsenal front line. To the four names that Adevald have picked, and you thought normally they'd fit into a 3 rather than a 4 in the front line, but at the moment, as you can see there, 1 for 1, player for player. Zinsberger up to Blackstenius, beaten to it, Bergsvand. Rabali clears it away. Illistedt watching it all the way. Here's Blackstenius. Jotty on it now for Brighton. Trying to keep the ball for a bit.
Yeah, just look how condensed Arsenal are in there. They're quite narrow, actually. Brighton need to try and find the wide players. It's the only way they're going to get out and try and switch the ball quickly.
Wasn't a bad ball, actually, to that right-hand side to Lee. And Lee trying to run McCabe. It's easier said than done. And McCabe almost inviting the challenge from Lee. Should take on any challenge, Katie McCabe. It's Lasada. The Arsenal fans serenading Katie in that fashion. Bremer, that didn't look as though it had gone out of play. She disagrees, Paulina Bremer, player who's played at the top level for Wolfsburg and former Manchester City player, but struggling to get into the game at the moment.
Yeah, she is. She's been more defensive, but it's difficult for her because they're asking her to track back and defend, but also when they get the ball, can she be high and wide? And she has got the legs to do it. She's very, very fit. Yeah, you can see here the two forwards, and Katie Robinson and Pauline Bremer with the fewest touches, which makes sense, really.
Bremer with a high foot there on Illistedt, allowing play to carry on. Although even saying that, looking at that fewest touches graphic, fewest outfield players for Arsenal is Beth Mead. McCabe. Now Ford. Ford, a little pass into Blackstenius. Cooney cross. Blackstenius, intricate from Arsenal. Russo shot, and that's deflected behind for a corner.
At the moment, it's just too easy. It's too easy for those balls to get played into the forwards' feet for Arsenal. There's no protection there. Midfield need to get back and try to cover that space, to stop those passes.
Ford standing right on Bagley there in that 6-yard box. Arsenal corner. Bagley thought about coming, didn't come. And then Vubben-Moy with a big chance.
You know, Arsenal are so good in that area, getting balls in, whether it's set pieces or whatever. Vubben-Moy is good in the air. This is where Brighton have definitely been speaking about how good Arsenal are getting into wide areas, getting the ball into the box.
Rabali going long, but that's going to go straight out of play. I mentioned how eventful it's been for the Colombian centre-back after a fabulous World Cup for a country. Reaching the quarter-finals, a historic situation for the South American nation. Game in which Alessia Russo scored the winner for England in that quarter-final. Zinsberger to Ford. Here's Robinson.
Carabali does well, just finishing on that point. Carabali does well because she's playing in a left centre-back position, right-footed. It's always difficult, more so for the build-up than anything else, but she has to adapt to that.
Brighton adapting well here in that 50-50. Losada! Now, the last time Vicky Losada scored in the WSL, the start of last year.
It's good play from Maria Thorisdottir, strong play. She's getting, Vicky Losada's getting the space closed down. It wasn't a bad decision, nothing wrong with that.
So to be fair to Vicky Losada, she was at Roma during that period. Hard to score in the WSL when you're not in the country. Here's Blackstenius.
I'm glad you explained that, Seth.
I just thought I'd clarify that in case of being a bit hard. And Zinsberger waiting to play that pass. Palova caught on the ball, the pass from Vubben-Moy, and Bremer looking for that ball across. Diljotti to go from range, and that's behind the goal. And apologies if you have heard any bad language from some of the supporters in the ground. I think Diljotti apologising for that shot.
Well, we've seen what happens when Brighton do get their press right. We've seen it against Manchester United. It's all about the press, it's all about winning the ball back and getting the ball in the box. But as I said before, it has to be better. The final ball has to be better. You have to make use of those.
The best of challenges from Palova. It's more of a shove than an actual tackle on Losada. Palova knew it wasn't the best of challenges. She ran away quite quickly from that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question whether it was a foul or not. It's definitely a foul.
But maybe a position here for Brighton. Losada or Diljotti to look for one of the defenders that are forward. All three centre-halves have gone forward. Diljotti clips it in there. Zinsberger doesn't come. And Arsenal deal with it first time. And Palova looked to clear, nobody up there for her.
Yeah, it's a strange sight to see the whole of the Arsenal players back there, not leaving anybody up for that clearance. But with Ziggiotti, it's a decent ball. I just feel it needs a little bit more legs further into that space, because there's a massive space between Zinsberger and her back line, who are holding on that 18-yard box.
Harley cleaning that ball out play, and I'm glad you mentioned it actually, Emma, about her position in that back line, because she played on the right-hand side of the defence. She was caught there, played on the right-hand side of the defence in the World Cup, the central of the defence. Arias next to her. So she's slightly out of position in that back line.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it does show a little bit just with her, the shape in which she closes down and which she tackles. She's certainly been in this game, hasn't she? Arsenal are a physical team.
She's part of a Colombia defence that gave Alexandra Potter a tough time, would you believe, in that World Cup.
It's probably my favourite game of the World Cup.
Incredible match. Famous win for Colombia over Germany. But right now, she's in cold Crawley. First season in Europe.
And they're quite physical, the Colombia team, so it's not as if she's not used to that side of the game.
Nice touch from Lasada to get Brighton going here. Kuhlberg. Ball played into an area. There wasn't a Brighton player there, though, and Ruben Moyes mopped up a lot for Arsenal back there. And now Ford under a lot of pressure. Ruben Moy. Over. Wins it, and Arsenal can break here. Not quite. Karabali stepping out. Sanjotti. Lasada. Robinson. A chance for her to run with the ball.
It was really good play from Giulia Zigliotti there, just breaking up the play. She's just so much energy in that midfield because, as I said before, Arsenal are so good in transition and changing from defence to attack, and Zigliotti does really well to stop that happening.
Sada high up the pitch at the moment. Brighton with the ball. Turlen, heading room in the channel. Bremer wants it, and has it now. Alina Bremer, going across looking for Lasada. Cooney cross in the right place, and then a free kick to Arsenal. There's going to be a yellow card here. I think the initial challenge from Lasada was just slightly late. I think it was the follow-through after that. No complaints.
Just look at it here again. Yeah, I mean, I think Vicky went in there to foul and missed Russo completely, made sure she didn't miss the second time.
Tying that high line. Now having to run back as Arsenal come forward. And Maritz down the line for Mead. Mead can't quite pick the pass. Bremer didn't have that time on the ball. Palova can't hold on to it. And Karabali loses it. And here's Palova. Palova tried to pick the pass through for Blackstenius.
Well, sometimes, Seb, you just have to put your foot through it. And, you know, we've seen it happen before, just silly little mistakes. Just clear the ball. And I think it is that Karabali coming in with left foot trying to clear that ball. I think it does come into that, the fact that she is right-footed. But just get rid of the ball. You can't afford a team like Arsenal. They're so quick, so sharp. But it's the first time we've seen Arsenal try to play that ball down the line, and it's going to work for them. They can certainly exploit those areas against Brighton.
Russo. Karabali seems to be everywhere at the moment for Brighton. Working hard there to try and win the ball, and does actually earn a throw-in. Real competitor. It's quite the story as well. Suffered a serious injury in the past after a botched operation. 8 months out, she could barely walk. Bagley. No suggestion Sophie Bagley was going to pass that out short. Here's Turner. Room here for Kuhlberg. Turner wanted the pass played earlier. Bremer. The bodies are arriving here for Brighton. But instead away. And Lee couldn't quite get that under control. Cooney cross. So composed on the ball. Here's Ford. Stenius moving wide. So Mead in the middle with Cooney cross. Ford. Ford, clever pass into Cooney cross. Mead. Maritz. Mead. Time to whip one in, but there was nobody there at the back post. Almost arriving. There was Ford, but it's nothing. And Mead has that sort of time, though. She can produce that sort of quality.
Absolutely. She's got enough time there to pick her pass there. But just going back to Brighton, they really need to do better when they're in the attacking third. They have to make better decisions, better quality on the ball, because it's not even about scoring, it's just about not giving possession back to Arsenal and for Arsenal to counter. They need to get better balls in the area because they have the numbers. The back post is always free for Brighton and they're just not seeing it.
Milistec does find Russo there. This could be a problem for Brighton because Beth Mead is in the penalty area. But Karabali with a challenge. Arsenal felt it should have been a penalty. Karabali stepping out there, seemingly winning the ball at first glance.
I mean, it looked like she'd won it, that Beth had just fallen over, to be honest. But again, it's just getting a little bit messy. You know, you just feel like they need to tidy up. Brighton need to tidy up a little bit more in defence and be a little bit more assertive because, you know, they can't afford to be indecisive in there.
Brighton at the moment in 8th in the WSL. Two of the sides currently below them playing each other at the moment. Everton beating Bristol City as it stands. As Lee digs out the cross, but into the arms of Zinsberg. Hasn't been tested so far. And that suits goalkeepers just fine.
Happy days, happy days. So you can just see Beth Mead coming in here, checks back, just gets caught under her feet a little bit. It's not foul, it's not penalty, is it? She can ask for it, though.
Absolutely. Player who wasn't that far away for being voted the best player in the world last year. The timing of that injury, when were they ever good? Here is Mead. Zinsberger. He beat to it by Karabali, who went over the top to win that ball. No messing around. But it's left Mead on the ground.
I just feel like Karabali has switched and just said, right, that's it, that's enough. I've had enough. She was in a few tough tackles, and that is a really strong header from Karabali, and it's just, I think she just lands on Beth Mead awkwardly there.
It feels like in this first half we've mentioned the centre-back for Brighton on numerous occasions, but it has been that sort of half. The incident that led to the goal, but then since then she's had some good moments as well, and that there was an unfortunate moment, you would say, the way she landed on Mead, who is sat up at the moment. It's the first of our 2 WSL games today, but following this one, quite the Manchester derby at Old Trafford, 4 p.m, Sky Sports Football and Sky Sports Premier League. And 2 clubs who also need a victory to keep in touch with Chelsea. And I think Beth Mead's just pointing out that if somebody lands on your head, it should be a foul.
I think she's talking about the penalty, yeah.
Both with Karabali involved. But the good news is Beth Mead is okay. I think Karabali just getting a message from manager there. I wonder if it's to keep trying to stay as competitive as possible.
She's been told to go in and mark Alessia Russo is what's happening. Russo's just dropping in, and probably if Russo's drifting around their front 3, then she's got the job to go in and mark her. But if she goes any further, then it's up to the 2 midfielders, either Ziggiotti or Lusada.
Ziggiotti to win the header. Bounce here for Turlen. Pelova having to do a lot more defending in that position, that role she's playing in the Arsenal midfield. And McCabe. Five minutes to go until half-time, and Arsenal just the goal in front, and I say just the goal because they've had a lot more of the ball and look dangerous at times. Maybe this scoreline would just suit Brighton as it stands. And here's Maritz. For Vermoy. Look for Ford with that raking pass and finding Ford. And Ford can drive forward into the penalty area here. Pelova. Pelova trying to find some room. Not tightly here, Pelova. Ford. Mead is still waiting for the cross. Otherwise, Blackstenius. Russo. He hasn't attacked that penalty area as much as we thought she might.
No, it's good defending though from Brighton. They're doing their jobs. They're not allowing players to get the space to run at them. And you can see though where Arsenal can exploit them. Those long balls into the channels. I think Ines Jodevel's going to be asking his team to do that a lot more in the second half. They're, you know, Brighton are playing the 3. They're quite narrow and they're quite high, which I'm surprised at. So I'd be expecting Arsenal to exploit that a little bit more.
So far, just the one goal, which came via the area at the back from Brighton. So that would be the main, inverted commas, concern for Jodevel. But just like all the former Arsenal coaches, 100% record against Brighton. Here's Dottit. It forward, but Vermoy reasonably well placed for Arsenal in this first half. Has used the ball pretty well. There's Mead. In this step. Robertson forcing her to go the other way. It's Karabali again winning that header. Cooney cross though, nice touch to find Blackstenius. On to Ford, and Ford will not quite get there. Bergsman getting in the way in the end.
It's really, really good defending from Bergsman, because Caitlin Ford is excellent. She's one of the best in the business at getting those touches beyond space. And Guro Bergsman does really well. She just reads it well and gets her body in the way.
At the moment there, Brighton so far haven't been able to work Zinsberger.
No, you can see there that Brighton had 3 shots and Arsenal 7, but only Arsenal's 1 shot on target, which of course is the goal. Which I think Jonas Jodevel will be the manager who'll be a little bit more disappointed, to be honest.
On for Vermoy, caught out at the back. Italian shoots straight at Zinsberger, and a first effort on target for Brighton. Right on cue.
Those stats changed in a second. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent enough ball. And you know what? Terland has to make a long way. She has to make up distance, and it's the only option she had, to be honest, because she was up there on her own. But because she's dropping into midfield a little bit more, she's not lying or sitting on the shoulders of the defenders.
There's brilliant work from Cooney cross that might have come at a price as Arsenal come forward. Here's Ford. Stenius ran into trouble. So Brighton here might be able to break. Instead it's Illister. Cooney cross on the ball again. It's been a class act actually in this first half for Arsenal. On the ball. Karabali wants Bremer to make the run so she can play the pass, and that's what she'll attempt here, but Illister may have the run here on Bremer.
Good ball from Karabali, decent. She had plenty of time to play it as well. I'd be expecting Arsenal to put higher pressure up there. Just allows Brighton to get up the pitch and get a breather, really.
Karabali wants that ball back from Kuhlberg. Here's Karabali. Looks for the switch towards Lee. Good control. Can't get round McKay, but I have to admire the response from Karabali after that early error.
No, I think it's just given her a bit of motivation, to be honest, because at the start she looked a little bit dodgy, to be honest, and a little bit slow in her decision making. But she's definitely come into the game a lot more, and really key player for Brighton.
Torres Dotte. Here's Lee. Carabali. A bit of time again. She's been given that time. She looks to play her passes. She thought about the shot there for a split second. And now Arsenal can break. And in goes Carabali on Mead to win it back. Turland. 4 minutes to be added on in this first half. And Lee is having her shirt pulled and has found some room down that side. Has been able to get forward at times in this first half.
Yeah, absolutely. The switch is on. It's on all the time for both teams, to be honest. But if Brighton are to look at their game and find out how they can play out, it is from the big switch. And it probably is from Lee's side because they're predominantly playing down this left-hand side.
Ball clipped into the box, and Zinsberger is in the right place there for Arsenal. So it's been an interesting first half, Emma, in many ways. We thought the way it started that Arsenal might have blown Brighton away by half-time. That hasn't been the case.
No, and I would look at Arsenal in that aspect. Why haven't they exploited spaces? Why haven't they made good decisions, got earlier balls into the box? And we talk about Arsenal being so good in wide areas. They haven't really got it wide enough. And I think that Brighton have made some mistakes that they should have been punished for, and Arsenal just seems to be on the back foot a little bit.
That give Brighton more belief. Colbo. Dotte. Goes long turn and won't reach that, but Robinson will. And a nice turn from Robinson. And a late chance in this first half for Brighton, and they're committing the bodies forward. And the ball goes across, and Maritz watching it all the way. It will be a corner.
Oh, it's a better ball from Lee Meng-wen there. Again, that space on that side, Robinson does it really well. And you can see that's what they're looking for when they get on the ball. They look for those wide areas, and a better ball from the winger.
So a late first half corner for Brighton. And Arsenal have brought everybody back to defend it. It's a 6-yard box. Goes towards the back post. And Zinsberger pushes it behind.
Decent ball in all the way to Ziggiotti. And I mean, it looked like it was on target, but I just wonder, could Zinsberger dealt with that a little bit better? It looked like an easy pickup to me.
I don't know if it was going to go in or not. Another Brighton corner. Can they make it count this time? Torres Dotte arriving at the back post. Bergman almost won the header. Arsenal clear. He is there for Brighton. So finishing the first half in Arsenal's half here, the home side. Albo. Sada. Albo. They have time for one more chance. Quick look at the watch from the referee, Tim Robinson. Illister. Kohlberg will allow this to run out of play. And Arsenal just haven't tested the Brighton goal enough, which seems strange to say. Look at the dominance in possession.
I think Brighton have defended quite well, but I feel Arsenal have allowed them to defend. They haven't passed the ball quick enough. They haven't made the decisions quick enough because they just allow Brighton to get back and get into shape, and that's where Brighton can be quite good. But there are certainly occasions where Arsenal could have changed the tempo a little bit and exploited spaces.
Well, half-time, and Stina Blackstenius with the only goal of the first half after an error in clearing the ball from Yorlin Carabali, who's had an eventful first half as well. But still, actually, plenty to play for in this particular contest, because at half-time, it's Brighton 0, Arsenal 1.
Half-time snacks consumed and ready to digest that first half. Arsenal 1-0 up at the break. Their only shot on target in that first half. Mark Schwarzer, Karen Carney, Izzy Christensen. Karen, talk me through the goal then.
Yeah, I mean, every week I keep talking about throw-ins, so I apologise to the audience to keep going on about it. And again, no, seriously though, the defensive display from Brighton there, it's a set piece. At no point do they really have any time on the ball to put pressure onto the ball, sorry. And again, it's a mistake. And it's a great finish, to be fair, but I think I'll go into it again here. Look, at no point does anyone really get uptight. I know it's nerve-wracking around there. There's Stina Blackstenius. No one's really around there. And we spoke about at the start of the show how deep that Brighton are. Carabali there with a poor clearance. And then it's a tidy finish. But I just think that maybe the goalkeeper could have done better, Mark. And I know, speaking about deep defenders.
Very harsh, Karen, sorry. It's just like we've been discussing the goalkeeping situation, and I think it's really tough for Bagley there because she's got her own defender, Torres Dottir, right in front of her. Problem is when
are they too deep? She too deep?
Absolutely. Carabali, when she makes tries to make the clearance, you see Torres Dottir go even deeper, and she stands right in the line of the goalkeeper. Yeah. It's so difficult. She's got to, the minute there's that clearance, she's got to push off. She's got to push out.
Should they be a lot higher up then?
100%.
At any point in this clip, I don't think the centre half, so in this situation it's Torres Dottir who's marking Blackstenius, she can lose contact of Blackstenius. I think you've always got to have an arm on her, and where she ends up right in front of Bagley, blocking her vision and sight, I think it's really poor defending from Brighton.
I thought it was a lot of ball watching. That's why you have that, because they're both, I mean, the two centre halves are looking at their position, and all they're doing is Torres Dottir turns and looks for the cross, doesn't look at her player. Yeah. And by that stage, she's out of the game. And then she realises, and she stands right in the middle of the goal, right in front of the goalkeeper.
I loved it being described on social media as a penalty from open play. She has that much time to go round and shoot. As for Brighton, they had 2 shots on target in the last 5 minutes of that first half.
Yeah, and Brighton have done really well to sort of keep themselves in the game and have these chances. This was exceptional from Bergsvan, just recognising that Ruben Moy was out of shape. Turland, in the form she's in, she's got every right to strike that. And then this one here, I think this is a good example of the system that Brighton are playing. It's Katie Robinson who's on the right. She's come inside. She's fizzed it wide to Meng Wen. And then this ball here is exactly what I think Brighton are going to have to do to get back in the game. It was Bremer at the back post who was lurking. And then, of course, this one here is a little bit shaky from Zinsberger, but Mark's, you know, she's got his back for sure, but
I think he called it Zinger Burger in that first half. He loved that performance.
Yeah.
More of that to come. He's probably just hungry. So Arsenal ahead then at the break. They haven't actually lost the WSL match for 44 matches when they've been ahead at half-time.
McCabe, that wasn't a bad ball actually. Carabali doesn't clear it very well at all. And Arsenal's second bite of the cherry, and taken for Blackstenius. When she gets the chance for Arsenal this season, she scores.
Arsenal ahead at the break, but I must make it clear, particularly for Mark, no seagulls were harmed in the making of
Thank
that
goodness.
last film. Brighton then looks like they're making a change. What are they trying to do, Izzy?
Well, it looks like Charlie's Rule has come on. She's a young player with Australian heritage, so obviously Mark's smiling here behind the screen. No, she's a player who's looked really good so far in the WSL. I know she's featured in all the games, and I think it would just be a bit more of a direct approach, I think, on Kate McCabe to try and stifle her, because that's what Meng Wen was doing in the first half. But I think it'll be positive from Brighton. Good response.
Arsenal 1-0 up at the break then. Let's get back to your commentary team of Emma Byrne and Seb Hutchins.
Yeah, no changes for Arsenal as they lead by this narrow margin away from home. The one change just mentioned there for Brighton on their right-hand side. See if that makes any change to their back line as Arsenal look for more. Carabali, player with the most touches in that first half. But if you are a Brighton supporter, I was going to say, thinking the scoreline's looking okay, a reminder they scored 6 against Leicester in the second half.
Well, I was just about to say that, Seb, but as comfortable as Brighton may seem, Arsenal are a better second-half team.
Here's Rule looking to make an immediate impact. The pass just behind Turlin in the end. finding herself in a lot of space there. Here she is again.
So initially, when I saw Charlize Rule come on, I thought she was going to play in a back four because she is more defensive, plays right back, but she's actually staying high. Looks like the formation hasn't changed. It's still a 3 at the back. Perhaps she might drop in a little bit more to help back there, but looks like she's going to push on also.
That strong left-hand side of Arsenal with Ford and McCabe. Ellister to Mead.
Yeah, the problem Brighton are having is that because they want to stop Arsenal playing out and they're pressing quite high, particularly in the midfield, Vicky Losada and Julia Digatoni in there, they're just pressing high, which means there's a bit of space behind them, which is where Russo is sitting in. So what Brighton have done to try and counteract that is they've put Carabali in there to try and mark Russo and actually asked Charlize Rule to drop back. So it is actually, in fact, a back four, and then pushing Carabali in there into midfield when they're out of possession.
Which they will be now. Carabali is caught between two positions there, and Arsenal look to exploit that space. Wants that ball to run out of play, perhaps. Just didn't quite make it, though. Pelova. From the starting 11s to this game, just the one change at the moment of Rule in the team. And Pelova trying to force her way through. Losada miscued that pass, but Robinson will keep it in play to get Turland forward. There's Ruben Moy. Dotted. Nice play from her. Robinson, the one touch, looking for Turland again. Ford gets it back to Russo. Pelova. International again, Pelova into Cooney Cross, who rides the challenges. He gets that ball wide to Maritz. Now Mead.
Really lovely play from Pelova and Cooney Cross in there, just trying to find those gaps in between that midfield block.
Two excellent technicians in the centre of that Arsenal midfield. There's Cooney Cross again. Russo. McCabe saw the run of Blackstenius, who loves to run the channels. Blackstenius driving forward. Going on here, Blackstenius. Couldn't quite force her way through.
It's really clever play initially from Arsenal. Guro Bergsvan got dragged into midfield, which we can see actually now she's getting dragged in because of Russo. It just leaves that space behind her. And Stina Blackstenius is excellent at playing in those pockets. What Brighton need to be careful, well, more particularly Maria Thorisdottir, she needs to come across and make sure she picks up Stina Blackstenius, because Bergsvan has gone into midfield.
Work for Thorisdottir to do here with Blackstenius on her shoulder. Here's Bagley, who hasn't actually had too much to do. 35 shots as it stands to face. Here's Russo, or too much in the end, according to the referee. And it's Carabali again involved.
It's a good battle, isn't it? You just see Carabali, it's just a bit of an elbow, just gets hit in the face. Nothing intentional.
We've mentioned it a few times, but Carabali in that Colombian defence in the World Cup, prepared to take on any challenge. Got the better of Alexandra Pop, but not the better of Alessia Russo. Kulbo. Cooney cross. Losing the ball. Bremer. Open Moy took a chance trying to control that in the penalty area. Given away by McCabe on the cover.
Yeah, it's a good counter press from Brighton. They lost the ball initially, pressed high and won it back. I'm just going to go back to my point from the first half. Has to be better deliveries. Pauline Bremer does really well, gets some good positions, and then it's just a ball. No one's in there, needs to pick a player out, needs to keep possession.
Moment Rule is in loads of space on the right-hand side. Just watching Katie McCabe in the position we know she loves to get forward. And she's been disciplined in that defence for Arsenal today.
I actually think she has. I think she's been held back there. We haven't seen her get forward that much. She's so dangerous when she does get forward, and I spoke about the fullbacks getting forward for Arsenal. But yeah, I think she has been held back a little bit today.
Good touch from Cooney Cross, and here's Torres Dotte, the centre-back. It's opened up for her. She slides the ball through to Robinson, and a very, very good challenge from, of all people, Alessia Russo.
What a tackle. What a tackle from the centre forward. It's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant run from Torres Dotte. Really good decision there. Great ball. But just look at that run back from Russo just to get a toe in it. What great awareness from a striker.
Perfectly timed. Lasada with the corner though for Brighton. It's not a bad delivery. And headed over. Wow, head in hands, Bergsman.
Well, she scored. She has scored already for Brighton in a corner. I'm probably disappointed not to get more there. She had a free header. She looked back on that and thinks she should be hitting the back of the net, I think.
And all the talk about her defensive actions this season, but what a chance to score there for Brighton. McCabe into Ford. Ford ran into Zilgiotti. Here's Cooney Cross. And two Australians side by side there, Cooney Cross and Rule. Rule not in Australia's squad for the World Cup. Cooney Cross, of course, a starter for Australia. And Caitlin Ford. Where is Ford? Look at her go here. Brilliant work from Caitlin Ford, and Russo helping it on, but too much on the pass.
It's great play from Caitlin Ford. Hit through players around her, just lovely footwork. You've seen her do that a lot today, try to go on the inside. Just allow that space in there. It's a good run by Russo, but poor ball in the end.
Here's Turlin. Robinson. To run at McCabe here, Robinson. Just invited enough of a touch for McCabe to win it back.
It was a foul. It was a foul.
Dotte, Bergs fan, was expecting that pass. And here's Blackstenius. Maritz. Plenty of Arsenal shirts forward again. Palova. Palova once more for Arsenal. Still struggling to create chances in this game.
Yeah, again, it's just given Brighton time to get back and organised, and then obviously to push up when the ball goes back.
Bremer, she loses out. Cooney Cross. McCabe. He's pass into Cooney Cross, who drives forward and looks for the 1-2. All only as far as Ford. Lasada looks for Bremer. Joti can't get it under control. Cooney Cross again, starting Arsenal's attack once more.
Yeah, Brighton are really finding it difficult to retain possession, try to get out of that Arsenal press, so to speak, but you're going to have to find a way. Just seen Vicky Losada giving the ball to Bremer there, and just a poor header back to Zigiotti.
And the battle goes on from Torres Dottir and Blackstenius, but waiting in the wings. There's Lacasse actually giving some instructions to Frida Marnham. And they may be the two to come on next for Arsenal. I think they're just trying to work out
the set pieces.
I didn't want to say. Cooney Cross. Now Russo. Marnham is about to come on for Arsenal. Step. Russo, the touch to Palova. He took the shot on. Here's Ford. McCabe, this is promising for Arsenal. And Blackstenius had a swipe. Ford. Palova. She picked the pass. Not quite, but Arsenal still have it. Mead. The Arsenal supporters urging Beth Mead to get a shot away there.
You know, we talk about Arsenal being so dangerous in wide areas, and they do predominantly play wide, but actually through the centre they're equally as dangerous, and we just seen it there. Really clever, intricate play from Palova there. But when the ball does go wide, you can see Kate McCabe in so much space, but that's what it's all about. It's about playing through the middle so you create space out wide. They're all interlinked.
Listen, talking about what you're talking about there, I mean, that's maybe why Frida Marnham's about to come on. A player who's been so consistent for Arsenal. Featured in almost every game since she signed for the club. On a rare occasion that she finds herself on the bench.
Yeah, excellent player. Really good at finding half spaces in behind her midfield. You know, just those little pockets. I imagine that kind of Russo's position now is where Marnham will just slip in there.
With all this talent that Arsenal have in the squad, Marnham's having to get used to being on the bench every now and again. Here's Blackstenius. Cooney Cross. Pass to Palova. Palova's shot. Cooney Cross, when she's got on the ball, you feel like that's where things are going to happen for Arsenal.
Yeah, she's got some space in there. When she has got space, she picks out really nice balls. And Palova finding some good space in there again. I'd ask Brighton can close that down a little bit better.
We might see a double change for both clubs here. McCabe's header. Stenius, Palova. Maritz. Mead, Palova. Cooney Cross. Again looking to link up. Russo. Moy. Right with everybody behind the ball now. McCabe. Moy to Cooney Cross. Out to Ford. Ford waiting for the run of McCabe. And McCabe, another teasing ball across. Nobody there.
Nobody there, back post, was there? You're just wondering how Arsenal can break them down. Can they go around them? Yes. Can they go over? Possibly. But it is those overlapping runs from the full-backs that are definitely working.
Maybe Brighton might need a sub now. The owners, Arsenal, with their strength in attack here. And Nigamin, who scored the winner against Manchester City last weekend, come on once more. hit the hour mark. Maisie Simmons as well, waiting to come on.
She's such a good player, Lee. She keeps the ball so well. Technically very, very good. And also Brighton change when she comes on. They change into a 3-5-2 sometimes, which just gives them that extra player in midfield, which I think they probably need at this stage.
Arsenal in need of a second to feel more comfortable, but here's Pelova. Forward again, sending it into that penalty area, and that's going to run through to Bagley once more. Arsenal continue to look more threatening in this second half, but still not enough attempts to test the Brighton goalkeeper. But Turner will put pressure here on McCabe, who does very well to find Russo. Ford need to run at Rule here, sees the space. Or drive Rule backwards, and Rule tried to ease Ford off the ball.
She did really well, actually. I thought Ford had beaten Rule, but she did well to get a toe in. As much as Arsenal have enjoyed possession, which has been a lot, I think Brighton have done quite well, just kind of weathering that storm, just the waves of attack. They're set up really well. They're in a 5 at the back at the moment. They know the spaces out wider are where Arsenal want to exploit.
Moy looking for Blackstenius. Bagley backtracking, which gives a chance for Blackstenius to take this on. Lay it off to Mead! Well, we thought the net was going to bulge, but just over for Beth Mead.
That was so close. Again, we talk about the long ball. It works for them. Blackstenius is one of the best at getting on the end of them. And look at this. Look how many red shirts are just waiting for that pullback. It actually gets a touch off Emma Kuhlberg, I think. Should be a corner.
Beth Mead, what a return to the starting lineup that would have been. But not to be, as Brighton bring off their captain Vicky Lasada, who's given the armband to Bergsvan. Maisie Simmons come into that midfield. And Lee Gamin will go into the front line as Bremer makes way. What happened for Carolina Bremer today? A triple change for Arsenal. And Mornham is on. As will be Lucas, who has impressed, another of the new signings for this season. And Steph Catley replaces Katie McCabe. Of course, Hoover's been trying to get both of them in the team recently, but one replaces the other on this occasion.
Difficult. Yeah, you can see Russo goes up top. Sina Blackstenius comes off, and Monham does drop into that area where we were talking about, in that kind of number 10 position, which is natural, where we naturally see her. And then for Brighton, you've got Maisie Simmons, a really, really good young player, definitely a prospect to be looking at. I think she's brilliant. And then Lee Guin, who I also think is equally as brilliant, really good technical player. Looking forward to see how she gets on.
Beth Mead getting a great reception from the Arsenal supporters behind that goal. Pleased to see her back in the starting lineup. She has made some appearances from the bench. It's a long time away. Maisie Simmons into that midfield. And the 20-year-old works it wide to Kuhlberg. Kuhlberg looking for Turlin. Pelova won't get to that, although she tries to rescue it. Simmons now to Rule. Let's open up for Rule here. And Rule might have a shot. Robinson. Sees the crossing, but Arsenal deal with it. Wasn't enough belief, it felt, from that Brighton attack.
No, not from Rule, for sure. She should have had a shot.
And instead they may be punished. Russo won't quite get to this. Only done from Bagley. Robinson's header, though, straight to Palova. While the score remains 1-0, predictable nature of this game. Cooney cross.
Yeah, we'll definitely see some counter-attacking football from Brighton, especially with the changes as well. They're quick, they like to move the ball quickly.
Jotty caught on the ball, Cooney cross going in. She's been quicker to the ball in that midfield all afternoon for Arsenal. A lot of clubs interested in Ira Cooney cross. Time in Sweden. So Arsenal will have the young Australian.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to find a holding midfielder with that kind of level. There aren't that many in the world at the moment.
On him to Ford. Ford across. Karabali's header, though, only as far as Palova. And still Palova. Taken off for Balakas. Palova again. It's all a bit scrappy. Ford. Brighton should clear this time, and they do.
Oh, dear. Not enough space in there. I'm not sure why Lacasse took the ball off Palova. Originally, she could have hit with her left foot. See, it's all a little bit messy. Players turning their back. Just getting a toe in, anything on it, just to try and get rid of it. A few missed kicks.
Arsenal couldn't force it home, though. Here's Russo. Catley digs that cross out. Draws Dottir away. Turlen need to hold this up, but she can't. Catley into Ford. And Ford away from Turlen. Ford still has it. Brilliant persistence. And Russo losing out. And had a little tug there. She may pick up a booking here. Nervous look over the shoulder. She's got away with it.
Strikers don't get cards, Seb. Don't be silly.
That's what she just said to the referee.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely purposely done. It was quite clever, actually. But she's a physical player. That's why she's so successful. She puts herself, her body on the line, and I think she's really, really successful with it. Absolute nightmare for defenders.
So have found themselves in some very promising positions, and the attempts keep coming for Arsenal in the second half. They're easing away for Brighton, but not on the scoreboard. And here's Lee. Rule. Simmons. Karabali. Robinson helping that on. Katie Robinson going to get more into the game as well in that wide area. Wasn't part of England's last squad.
No, and you know, balls like that aren't really going to help her. They actually have time. They've got the space to play it on the floor, Brighton, because there's big gaps in between the Arsenal lines there. They can actually pass it through the thirds.
The gaps in the Brighton defence, and that was ambitious, to say the least. Assuming she was going for goal there, Russo. She saw where Bagley was.
She was definitely going for goal. I mean, it would have been a horrible pass otherwise. It's decent though, isn't it? It's decent ball into her. That's what Russo does really well. Also just running in behind, getting into those spaces.
Space here for Rule. Looking for Robinson. Eased off it by Vupa Moy. Seems a clean challenge by the referee. Catley. On him to Cooney cross. Fired at her and she loses out. Here's Turlen. Getting back was Palova.
Well, the referee has signalled to play on there, but Brighton would surely have wanted the foul against Lee. I think it was a foul. It's just gone in. It was a poor touch from Cooney Cross. Does she get the ball there, Cooney Cross? But the referee signals as if to play on, as if you've got possession, but Brighton are going to want the free kick there.
Certainly no advantage when you're looking back towards your own goal. And a step forward, Lacasse Loses out. Now Turland. Outside of the defender here. Turland. Simmons arriving in support. Do Brighton believe? Because they only need one to level things up.
I think they do, but you know, it's all about making the right decisions in those areas. You don't have to rush balls. You have to be clever, and you know, Brighton are very good at catching teams on the bounce and getting counter-attacking goals, but when they commit players forward, and they have players forward, it's nearly worse because they have to make decisions.
Bergsman making a decision to try and get round Ford, who I think is looking at the referee, trying to ask for a yellow card without showing an imaginary one. Because the free kick was given. And in fact, booking is coming here for Bergsman. All on the ball.
So this is the yellow for Guro. Well, yeah, she does have hold of her, yeah.
Well, Turland. Going off Guro Bergsman with that yellow card. Here's Catley. Forward. And the flag had gone up there in the end. Turland making way, and Tatiana Pinto, Portuguese international, a fixture in their midfield, and was a starter last week against City, but was the one to make way for this change in shape.
Yeah, good player, Pinto. Again, another technical player, likes to play, likes the ball at her feet. So that's two players. Lee and Tatiana Pinto's come on now for that. I thought Turland done well. She was a little bit deeper than she normally is today, and I do think that was there to help the midfield, but then she was not deep enough to help them and not high enough to play in that number 9. The ball's in behind, so not her greatest of games.
Yeah, right now a chance is going to fall to Brighton. It's really perfect for Turland. It's Arsenal to come forward here. One of them can release Ford to run at Bergsman. Mornham, Russo's in the middle. Ford, they have done well at getting the bodies back.
Yeah, they have, but again, it's the same problem for Arsenal. Players in the box nearly getting in there too early. Like we talk about movement, can Ford be getting into the box and hitting that first time?
This might be the moment. Another miscue, not the first of the game. Lacasse that time.
I feel like now it's nearly like a tactic.
It might become one. It bears fruit like it did for Blackstenius in the first half.
It's like a handball to me.
No argument. So, following this one, the Manchester derby from Old Trafford. Average from 4 p.m, so effectively straight after this match. Sky Sports Football, Sky Sports Premier League. And here are the teams for both the sides, and the big news for Manchester City is that Alex Greenwood is available again. Starts. Oh, the ball from Zinsberger. And Pelova can't lose it there. And here's the relieving sound of the referee's whistle. Now, Paul Barber, chief exec at Brighton, who has said that the club will build a purpose-built stadium for the women's team. Attendance tonight. Ford. Rule.
It's just a turnover of possession for both teams, really. For Brighton, just keeping the ball, giving themselves that breather. But for Arsenal, it's poor. You'd expect them to be better with that.
Here's Russo. He's been freed at the front now. Ford. Ford! He's going for the near post there, I think. He's deflected behind. He looks Arsenal's most dangerous player in the front line. Next man in the way. Well, tight on the score sheet. Corner for Arsenal. Cooney cross. I understand maybe substituted soon.
Arsenal has been exposed, or Brighton have been exposed at the back post in previous times, and, well, not this time. Sophie Bagley comes out and collects with confidence.
Wanted to get that ball down the pitch as quickly as possible. Because ultimately, Brighton do need to score. Lee for the run of Robinson. That's easily cut out by Bubban Moy. Rule. Simmons looking for the run of Lee, who does make those runs from deep that can prove a problem for the opposition.
Yeah, and it's where Brighton want her. They want her higher up. We've seen her there dropping off. She was in her own half there getting on the ball, but it's not really where she should be. She's better higher up the pitch.
Arsenal want to build from the back here. Brighton have hooked on to that. Illistead. Lacasse. Felt she was pulled back. No foul. Illistead finds room for Marnham. Good run from Ford. Catley. Trying to keep that in play. Ford. Cooney cross. All the Australians linking up for Arsenal. And here's Cooney cross again. Works it to Marnham.
She's done so well there, Cooney cross.
And here she goes again. Brilliant. Almost found a way through. That's cleared away.
Too many touches. Did she have a chance to get her shot off just before that cut back onto her left foot? She's been everywhere today, Cooney cross. Absolutely great defensive role from her, but also getting forward.
To help that out, and does find the mark to Maritz. Lacasse. Palova. Palova able to turn. Burst into the penalty area for Arsenal. Pass across, no! It was there for the second, and Russo couldn't convert.
Well, you can see here, Giulia Zighiotti, she's just not able to keep up with her anymore. She looks absolutely exhausted, and Palova's done absolutely everything right. Great ball in. Just too far ahead. Russo just can't get anything on it. Completely on her own.
Well, Kyra Cooney Cross has had a standout match, but she's making way for Leah Valti, who has been the player to start in that position more often than not for Arsenal in recent years. She's got some competition in that area now.
We just talked about having it difficult to find that holding midfielder here at Arsenal. You can see they've got two absolute world-class ones. Well, here you can see Kyra Cooney Cross, the touch map absolutely everywhere. I mean, I'd say, why aren't you over in that right-hand side a bit more? Look at that.
Lack of presence in the 6-yard box.
Can't remember her giving the ball away either, can you?
No, stand out. But Brighton have given the ball away to Ford, who lets fly and scores. What a strike from Caitlin Ford. The room was there, and she took advantage. And will that be the win for Arsenal?
I would think so. Caitlin Ford in the central area. Normally see her wider, but look how much space she has. Talk about that space. Brighton just dropping off again, not going to the ball. For me, Guro Bergsman has to go to the ball there. There's nobody else around that she needs to worry about, but what a strike from Ford. In the corner. Nothing that Bagley could have done about that.
The class act for Arsenal, Caitlin Ford. and has been the most threatening of the Arsenal attackers in this second half. Maybe a surprise to some. She's scored so few in the campaign so far. And that's just testament to what a stand-up player she is. Here's Lee. Nodded out by Valti and Pelova. Still Pelova. It's lost out. Brighton now with a lot of work to do. Here's Simmons. And Arsenal will be, expect them to be comfortable from here. You never know in football.
It was the right idea from Macy Simmons. She saw over in that far side Emma Kohlberg, and she was free. It's just the execution of the pass.
Well, that will be a huge relief for Jonas Eideveld. In a step. And a break to Catley. Now Ford wants that ball played. Catley carrying it, and Ford not quite with a pass. Catley might have another go here. But Ford could be offside. Flag stays down. Catley. Valti. Ford. Catley. Ford again. Plays a good ball in. And Torres Dotti gets it away. And Lee has the free kick for Brighton. But that goal from Caitlin Ford, I feel, has probably nothing out of Brighton, really. They were narrow on the score sheet, of course, but that cushion for Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think there's, you know, the players are tired. They look tired. Talk about the defensive players dropping off. That's definitely something that Melissa Phillips will have a look at, and when to step in and close down the ball.
Yeah, there was a booking, meanwhile, for Alessia Russo for effectively time-wasting and kicking the ball away. Poppy Pattinson will come on for Kohlberg. Fullback.
Another good young player for Brighton, and naturally a left footer, so just slips in there instead of Kohlberg. Like for like.
And Pelova, I've been told to leave the field. Treatment. And Pelova disagreeing with that at the moment. Still being asked to leave, Pelova. All the Arsenal players are disagreeing with the situation.
I think, is the referee saying that she needs to go off? And
yes, but she's stayed on, maybe to say she can't move. But in the meantime, Emma, may I ask who your player of the match is? And well, I can guess.
Can you guess? I've just spoken about her. It's this player here, Kyra Cooney-Cross. I think she's had an excellent game. You know, took a little while to get her groove in terms of, you know, she's just come to the club, and I think she's just getting better and better each game. And I'm talking about defensively, she's been excellent, but also getting forward. Like she's a box-to-box player and doesn't lose possession either. She's very, very cool and calm on the ball. I think she's had something like an 88% pass rate in this game, which isn't bad considering Brighton were putting a lot of pressure on them in the midfield.
Yeah, 3 games started in a row for the Australian. Her first 3 games starting for the club. And another young player, Arsenal of course got a fair few of them, Katharina Kuhl, come into midfield to replace Pelova, who's still not happy with being told to leave the pitch earlier, it's fair to say. And Pelova, who was fantastic last week against Leicester City, making way for another talented player in that Arsenal midfield.
Yeah, I think she's been really good today also, and I think it's nice to see, it's interesting to see her connection with Kyra Cooney-Cross as well. Again, just getting better and better, and forming a really nice relationship there in midfield.
All stretching to keep that alive. Valti turned by Lee, but too much on the pass from Lee. Just runs away in the end. How will Brighton view their performance today, do you think, Emma?
I think they'll be disappointed just because of how they conceded the goals. I mean, the first one was just, it was nearly comical, wasn't it? You just need to get pressure on the ball, and it's the same with the second one. They're quite similar in terms of get pressure on the ball, making a decision who's going to step in and get that pressure on, and you can see that they've just backed off. So yeah, just little things like that they'll be disappointed with. But in terms of keeping shape and making it difficult for Arsenal, I think they can be very, very proud of themselves. I think they've really made Arsenal work.
This has been slick build-up play from Arsenal. They score from this move. Quite some goal, forward across. Worked that situation pretty well indeed, but it's gone behind. I suppose from Arsenal's point of view, both their goals coming from errors from Brighton, but still good finishes ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, they've done something that the other two top teams couldn't do, which is beat them. And so, you know, they'll be glad. They would have be coming here thinking, we need to play well, we need to break them down, and it's not going to be easy. So obviously 3 points is going to be great for them, but there'll be lots of things that they can take from the game as well to improve on, and that could be simple things, moving the ball quickly, playing through midfield, switch it out, also getting players in the box when they have the opportunities to get the ball in the box.
Yeah, the next match in the WSL is a home fixture against West Ham, and then after that they host Chelsea, start of December. Moram, as you can see what she was trying to do, and we know she can score from range. She's that sort of player.
We've seen her score from here before. She can see there's a lot of space in that back post there, just trying to pick her pass into that corner, but it's a little bit too high. Although Sophie Bagley didn't seem to be too worried about it.
So with that Chelsea game on the horizon, currently 3 points with this result. It ends this way, behind the champions. Van back to Bagley. As well in the end, Gilgiotti, in went Valti. Brighton themselves, they know the expectation for them this season is, of course, not to be in the European mix per se, but so many of the other clubs in the league is just to make sure you stay in the league.
Well, like this team we're looking at tonight, that would have been the initial goal. Let's try and just keep our heads above water and stay up, but actually they've given themselves more of a task because they've played so well in the last 2 games, so the expectations are a bit higher.
So looking to link up once more. And a third before this one is done. Closing in in the 90th minute now. And one of Brighton's main rivals, you might say, in terms of making sure they stay in the league, is their next trip in the WSL, and they travel to face Liverpool. And then a home match against Leicester, and a trip to Aston Villa after that. So after that tough run of fixtures against the top sides, they have teams around them in the league. And those will be the games they're ultimately judged on. It's been a quieter second half for Karabali. He needed to be, actually. Well, 6 more minutes, but Arsenal well set for their latest 3 points as they continue improving form in the league after that Champions League exit. Time for one more. They have a corner here.
We've seen a little bit more of Noel Moritz getting forward as well, which is something we're very, very used to. The full-backs high, and certainly an area that they can improve on and do more of. when the full-backs get forward, they do look very, very dangerous. But then we're talking about getting the balls in the box, and what I've just said about getting decent balls in and getting bodies in the box.
So an added time corner here for Arsenal, who, interestingly enough, still have 3 players outside the box and 2 near the halfway line. Corner from Arsenal. It's a difficult one for Bagley. It's something to it, and enough for Brighton to clear it, though, only as far as Marnham. Catley. That will be another corner.
Yeah, it's difficult, wasn't it? There's a lot of players in there, a lot of traffic for Bagley to come over them and try and get a clean punch. But again, the clearance has got to be better. There's literally the only place on the pitch you don't want the ball to go. Back over to the corner taker.
Big Catley, once again for Arsenal. Whips it in again towards the near post, but it hits the side netting in the end. So this match nearly at a close. Half-time. 2 other WSL games taking place today, and Leicester currently leading Spurs. West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. Another of the scores. Everton drawing 2-2 with Bristol City earlier today.
You just can't call any of these games, can you?
There's so many surprising results already this season. Even with that point for Bristol earlier today. Who knows if Brighton could force a goal here. See Arsenal taking no chances with bringing everybody back. To tester for Zinsberger, didn't get much to it. Robinson! And that's under the right boot, but comes to nothing in the end.
Good ball in. Dangerous ball in, into that. Right into the middle of the mix. Zinsberger doesn't get anything on it. Doesn't get a punch on it. And well, it was difficult, wasn't it, for Robinson to keep that down.
Cool. Nicely done, having a shirt pulled as well. Referee playing advantage here for Cole to try and feed it through to Russo, and Bagley willing that pull to speed off the turf.
Just slowed up a little bit right at the end, isn't it?
You've been there, Emma, in that situation.
Oh, I would have just come out, cleared my lines. I wouldn't have had the patience to let it come into the area.
Zinsberger pumps it forward again. Russo looks like she's played 90 minutes already.
I mean, it's been a tough couple of weeks, hasn't it, for Brighton? Really difficult games. It's going to take its toll, and I think they look like a team that are a little bit tired, to be quite honest. Difficult to play these games, but you know what, it's probably, you know, we spoke about playing the teams in and around them, trying to beat them, so these games they weren't expecting to win them.
Might get another here, Arsenal, to finish things off, and they do, and it's the substitutes that make it happen. Marnham with the finish, where they were all linking up there. 3 goals for Arsenal, 3 points for Arsenal.
Well, that's a quality finish. Just Brighton switching off here, just not able to get back. It's a great run from Russo. Decent ball in, and very, very much unselfish play from Lacasse. Lovely little setback and a great finish. It's a lovely finish into the side net.
Didn't start in this one, Frida Marnham, but came off the bench to find that finish. And Arsenal finishing well. And the first of the season. The Norwegian scored plenty for Arsenal from midfield. Looking scoreboard for Arsenal. They might get more here. Russo. And it's opening up at the back again. Lacasse shot. Bagley did very well, actually, in the end.
Yeah, it's just opening up here. Loads and loads of gaps. And Russo does well just to lay it off there. And it's a decent shot from Lacasse, and Bagley does well to get her foot in it.
Well, for Arsenal, a 5th straight win in the WSL. And a victory that looks comfortable in the end on the score sheet for Jonas Eidevall. It was Frida Maanum who scored that 3rd goal following strikes from Caitlin Ford and Stina Blackstenius. It was tight at times for Brighton, who did defend well at times, but mistakes from the back cost them in the end. They couldn't repeat their heroics from last time out. Another win for Arsenal, and they continue the pressure on the champions at the top of the WSL. Final score, Brighton 0, Arsenal 3.
Seb, Emma, thank you. Celebrations then for Arsenal. They do go 3 points off Chelsea at the top of the table, back up into 2nd this afternoon. Another big game to come though for us in the Manchester derby, and whilst there are celebrations there, celebrations here at Old Trafford for one Mark Schwarzer. Australia have just won their 6th Cricket World Cup final. Reaction on Sky Sports News. It's not all about Mark though, there's also some golf on tonight. He's not very good at that. If you want to head across to Sky Sports Golf from 6, we're off to Florida for the CME Group Tour Championship Day 4. What? You said it was a good walk spoiled, didn't you? That's the golf. At times then, Arsenal below par, but they go back into the clubhouse with all 3 points. In fact, tonight brought to you by the magic number 3. 3 goals in it, 3 points off the top, and Frida Leonardson-Marnham rounds it off. 3-0 win for Arsenal at Brighton. Stina Blackstenius scoring the first for only the 2nd time she started this one with Alessia Russo. That paid off. Caitlin Ford made it 2-0 on 80 minutes before Frida Leonardson-Marnham made it 3-0. Kyra Cooney-Cross is the player of the match. She's with Emma Saunders.
Well, Kyra, congratulations. The winning run continues. How do you sum up this performance?
Yeah, I think at the end in the second half, we started that off really well. Obviously, the first half wasn't so great. We need to keep the ball better, and it was very transitional, but at the end, yeah, we got 3 points.
You mentioned there the difference between the first and the second half. I guess we've seen a bit of a pattern here with this Arsenal team and that. Second half, though, what do you feel you did much better that got this over the line?
Second half, we just kept the ball so much better, and we stayed loyal to our game plan. And yeah, the first half, I think we struggled to keep the ball, and I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I guess it was a very different type of win, wasn't it, to last weekend? But across the season, you're going to get performances like this, but the results, the most important factor?
Yeah, I mean, this is our first clean sheet, so I think today's game sums up the season, and I think we're really happy to get a clean sheet, and yeah.
For you personally, a 3rd straight start, just how pleased are you the way that you're integrating into this side?
Yeah, I'm so happy to be playing. Obviously it started a bit hard, but look at the team I'm playing in. I've got some amazing players training with every day, like Leah Walton, Kim Little, get to learn off. And then you've got Beth Mead, Viv Meademar, Steph Catley, Caitlin Ford. Like, it can't get much better than that.
Well, for you personally, it's been another great contribution, so well done. You are the player of the match.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Lovely.
Can we take a moment just to look at the smile on Mark Schwartz's face?
Well, cricket world champions now. You know, Kyra Cooney-Cross getting man of the match as well.
It's not like an Aussie to brag about.
No, they never do. They never do.
Next game, we've only got Alana Kennedy or Mary Fowler need to have a blinder and we're done.
Should we skip that and get straight to the goals? Because there were 3 of them in this. Karen, I don't know, from that first goal, it felt like it never really went vroom this match.
No, look, and this was a mistake from Brighton, really. Was well worked from Arsenal in terms of tidied with composure around the 18-yard box. The delivery comes in, but looked so deep in their defensive display there, Brighton, and it's a mistake there and a clearance. But nevertheless, it was great to see Stina Blackstenius score a goal, and she deserved to start as well.
Caitlin Ford, 81.
Yeah, no, she's a great player, isn't she? She can play in so many different positions, right? And okay, it's a mistake from Brighton, but she pounced on it, takes a touch, sets herself. And she's got that ability. We saw last week against Leicester what a quality goal she can score, and that was a really good one.
This is all about the work rate to the goal, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously the ball across from Russo, but it's all about that for me. That little deft touch from Lacasse and the finish from Marnham. Do you know what? Chloe Lacasse, she has been some signing for Arsenal under the radar, and that little assist, I love little bits of play like that because she's left it on a plate for a terrific display from Arsenal.
So much to like for that Arsenal side, and 3 points that move them back towards Chelsea at the top of the table. But our focus is switching to here, to Old Trafford. One down, and what a one to come from here. The first derby here in the WSL and the hottest ticket in town. They need something to dry them off. Looking forward to cheering on their heroes in the dressing room. We're expecting a record number here. I've certainly sold a record number of tickets for this one.